What is up? What is up?
What is up? Hey, it's
a
still
mad scramble
YouTube
today.
has a mad delay, dude. It's still counting down on YouTube.
Yeah, it's always been that way.
There we go. Trying to separate out my chat on YouTube so I can see what the hell's going on. How?
I was digging around in my bag trying to find something before we went live.
Pop out chat. Pop out that chat. Pop out that chat. Come on, chat.
Do you have two monitors set up or just one?
Just one. I just got my laptop in here. This is my cigar room, man. I don't have like the multi-monitor setup in here.
I don't have a multi-monitor setup either because I've switched to a MacBook.
Ah, the MacBook life. Welcome to the dark side, my friend. Welcome to the dark side. AB Cigars is in here already. He says, I'm here to learn about cigars. And that bitch blends and owns a cigar company. You're not going to learn anything from me, bitch. You know more than I do.
Wait a minute. I need to kick him. I need to ban him from the chat. I got to ban him from the chat.
Don't do that. Don't do it to AB. He's a good guy.
He banned me from your chat.
He banned you because you were being a dickhole on my live stream.
I was not. I was just being my normal.
You were trolling, bitch. You were trolling.
Yeah, he banned me. So
he banned you multiple times, then you just changed accounts over and over.
I got like 8 YouTube accounts.
That's fucking great.
That's he eventually gave up.
Yeah, he did. Oh man. Okay. Hopefully, just a little caveat, ladies and gentlemen. Taylor was having Lego Taylor before we started the live stream. So hopefully we don't get into that tonight. We will see if that pops up. Luckily, I'm not going to talk about it too much on the podcast because we've mentioned it enough and it seems to be a bad omen every time we talk about it. But we think that Taylor's going to have a new spot come the beginning of January and maybe the internet situation will be much better. Yeah,
that's actually a really good point. I got the preliminary lease paperwork today, so we've got to make some changes to it. But like, I'm going to have a space.
Finally.
I'm going to have a space come January 1st. I will have a new space. It'll be a temporary setup. And then once the official space is built, keyword there. Once it's ready, I'll move into that full time.
Right. So hopefully this one works out. We won't jinx it, but
hopefully I won't have to use Spectrum there because Spectrum.
Well, but I'm looking forward to potentially not have. No, watch. You'll move in there. Your internet will square up, and then I'll start having internet problems for some strange reason.
I hope not. I sure hope not. Let's start this off on a spicy note. What's on that wrist, sir? What is on that wrist?
Oh, nothing. Just the normal watch I wear every week. You know,
the old wrist. Oh, is it? Is it?
No, man. I finally pulled the trigger after many months of talking about it. The old where's the focus on this thing?
Looks like an old Black Bay.
Gotta get my boom. The
old Black Bay.
Black Bay.
I'm rocking the Black Bay wannabe, the Laurier Neptune.
Dude, I love this watch. You know, it's funny, and I'll go on a little.
You're going to give me your Oris now?
No, I'll go on a short. I'll go on a short bit of a tangent about this. First off, I want to thank you to everybody that made comments on my last video saying congratulations on the watch. It's really cool when you have a community of people because, you know, so often these days people are just dickheads. And if you get something nice, like people just want to hate and be assholes about it. Oh. So it's really cool to see people that are like genuinely happy when somebody gets something cool and they're like, oh man, congratulations. That's awesome. You finally did it. And I don't know, it's just cool to hear that there are good people out there that aren't just fucking assholes. so I thought that was good. And I appreciate all the kind words. People excited about the fact that I finally pulled the trigger.
I'm glad you finally did it. And I'm sure some people are saying I should go ahead and buy the old Speedmaster, but
you should
certainly. Not gonna happen because I got a new space. I got a baby. I got too many other things. So
so my little tangent is I've slightly changed my opinion about an AD buying watches from an authorized dealer. It's still basically the same. My opinion always was if you're buying a less expensive watch than, you know, maybe sub $1,000 or whatever, then sure, buy it wherever. But when you start getting into the slightly more expensive watches, go to an AD. I think I agree with that more now than ever, though, man. Because going to an 80 is nice, right? They
Well, yeah,
treat
I
you
was
nice.
gonna ask you how it felt walking out of the store with
Well,
the
they're
shooter.
just nice in there, dude. They treat you nice. They
Well, of course
size it
they are. They're
for
trying
you.
to sell you some shit.
Yeah, well, that's part of the thing, right? Like those guys get big commission on sale, so like it's just a different experience, right? It's kind of like when we go into a like a Louis Vuitton store or something for a woman to buy a nice handbag or whatever. They're very knowledgeable about their products. They're very polite. They're very nice. They cater to you. They fix the watch up. They buff it up real nice. They size it for you, and it's just you leave with the nice bag. It's all the nice paper and all the things. It's just a nice experience. It's a different experience than just getting it in the mail and opening it
right.
up.
I bought a Damasco, which was a $2,500 watch. It shows up 3 days later, and it's a white box. I open it up. There's a black box inside, and I've got the watch, and it's just kind of like,
right. It's not the same thing.
I did it.
And here's the thing. With some watches, you're not even going to pay more at an AD, right? Like when it comes to stuff like,
they offer a lot of discounts.
Like when they offer discounts, and then like we were talking earlier, you can actually get Rolexes at an AD cheaper than you can buy it anywhere else. You got to be on a fucking wait list and you got to know somebody to get it most of the time, but you can actually get it cheaper. And then you get that experience of going in the store and stuff. So I don't know, man. I mean, I get it. I'm not saying I disagree with people that buy stuff on the gray market. And I've bought plenty of stuff on the gray market, but there is something about going into an AD and getting the little special treatment. And plus, it's a legit shit when you get it from an AD. It's not like there's no possibility of fuckery. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I've thought about selling my Damasco lately a few times. It's probably going to happen. I've had some offers on it, and I'll probably sell the Damasco, pocket some of that cash, and get the Baico, most likely.
The Baico's nice, man. I love that watch. And I tell you, I almost didn't. The red one's the one that I've been eyeballing since I saw the black base for the first time. There's something about that red dial that just caught my eye, and that's just the one I've always wanted. But when I went in the store, I looked at the 58 because that's kind of the rage right now. Everybody loves the Black Bay 58, and it is very nice. It is a lot slimmer. And it, kind of is, fits. It's a little lower profile and all that. I tried them both on though, and I actually kind of liked the chunkier, bigger. Like I've got that Oris, which is a very thin, like lay flat kind of watch. So I kind of liked the chunkiness of this when I compared the two. But the watch that I almost got instead of this, but again, it was a little too similar to my Oris, is they have this in what they call a S&G. They don't call it a Baico. They call it S&G, which is the steel and gold. And dude, that watch in person is pretty fucking stunning. It's a stunner, bro. Like it looks good. I had it on the wrist and I was like, ooh.
Did you see that? Alex said, Eleanor's laying here with me watching since she won't sleep, and she doesn't care about dad, but keeps pointing to Jeremy and saying, Ermy, over and over.
It's the beard, man. I remind kids of Santa. They like me.
It's funny. We were at Alex's dad last night for dinner, and she loves her pop everything. You mention his name and she goes nuts. She's probably going nuts now because she just heard me say it. But he was holding her, and she looked at the wall. And there's a picture of Santa, and she goes, pop. It's nothing like Santa. Nothing at all like Santa. And it's just hilarious because she kept pointing at it and saying, pop.
That's awesome. That is awesome. But yeah, that's funny. The beard has one of two effects on small children. Either they really love it, and I think they might think I'm Santa or something, or it freaks them the fuck out. And they're like, what the hell is this Bigfoot looking dude standing here? So it's very polarizing with the children. I've scared plenty of kids unintentionally. And I've also, a lot of kids have just kind of gravitated immediately. But anyway, to finish my spiel, the S&G is really nice. And that damn Speedmaster that I was telling you that you're one of your favorite. What's the one with the white dial with the racing?
Yeah, Speedmaster Racing. That one is very hot. But if I get one, I'm just getting the Moon Watch, maybe a Sapphire Sandwich, maybe Hesalite. I really like the acrylic on these Lauriers. So
you got to go Sapphire Sandwich, dude.
What's in your pocket? Let's go.
Let's go.
Of course. The old Benchmade 940.
Yeah, I've been carrying this since they sent it to me, just because I always like to get a good feel for a knife before I review it or talk about it or anything like that. And dude, I really like it, man. I really, really, really like it.
I'm kind of mad that Zach didn't send me one. It's all right. He sent me a lot of knives this year.
Yeah, I was about to say, dude, you can never get mad about anybody not sending you anything. You have about 1 billion knives.
This is not a Civivi, but it reminds me a lot of Civivis, and I'm pretty sure it's manufactured by We. This is a Ferrum Forge Stinger. I talked about this in my best knives under 100. This was my pick for the best knife under 100. But the reason I say that, and I'm saying it because you said what you just said, I got an email from Civivi saying that their package to me should be here by Friday, and I have it on good authority that there are 22 knives in that box.
Jesus Christ. 22 knives. That is so many knives. Just what you need, 22 more knives, right?
I'm going to have to get another toolbox. Like, what? This knife, unfortunately, I love this knife. And the reason I say unfortunately is because I want to recommend it to everybody because it is a ridiculously good price for a knife like this. Nitro V steel, bearings, flipper, liner lock, choil, just perfect ergos.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're $90 and out of stock because of course they are. They weren't until I dropped my video, and now they're nowhere to be found. So
that's what it was funny. Before I dropped my gift guide, I checked to make sure pretty much everything that I put in there was in stock. And then somebody commented like the next morning, they're like, half the shit you put in your gift guide's out of stock. And I'm like, well, dude, it wasn't when I posted it because it was when I checked.
Yep.
But that being said, this is that limited drop, exclusive drop from Blade HQ. So they are live now. I checked with Zach before we started the podcast, so that because I said I'm not going to mention it if they're sold out, and he said no, there were still a few in stock. So nice. If you are interested,
I might be. I shouldn't be, but I might be.
You should definitely go to the website before they run out of them. They just dropped them today. It's M4. It's an M4 version too, so the steel's a little different than a normal Osborne.
This guy
What's that?
Keeps going.
Well, you didn't let me finish, bitch.
Well, I asked you what watch is on your wrist, and you're like 15 minutes later, you're like, let me finish.
Dude, you know I'm long-winded.
That's one way to put it. What are you drinking tonight? I'm going to surprise you.
It's going to be a lot. I'm starting off with a little bit of this because I have decided this is a great starter whiskey because it's just so friendly and easy. But I will be rotating through several whiskeys tonight.
Remember, we are also an audio-only podcast. So for the people who are not visually satiated, what might you be drinking?
It is Glenmorangie, extremely rare, 18. Nice. Is that better? I think I mispronounced Glenmorangie. No, I think it is Glenmorangie. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's there.
I'm gonna break your heart.
What? Just give me a little nip.
I'm gonna be drinking a beer tonight. It is not a Truly.
Okay. This isn't whiskey beer, or this isn't beer knife fight, bitch. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I almost grabbed a case of Truly instead of this today, but got to roll your IPA sometimes, hazy ones especially. This one's got a lot of particulates. I'm not going to drink it out of the can because I'm going to make you feel like at ease by drinking it out of this whiskey glass.
You know what? I appreciate that, Taylor. You're looking out for your boy. Somebody just said, "What am I smoking?"
You get triggered pretty easily over.
I'm starting with finishing off what I was smoking as I was setting up for the day and stuff. It is a Parla de what the hell are these things called? Perla de Mar or Para del Mar. I'm sorry, Perla del Mar. This is same one I was smoking some of last week on the podcast. This is a new release of these Perla del Mars that JC Newman's doing with a Corojo wrapper, box pressed. I'm really enjoying them. I like them a lot better than the old versions of this cigar. So I've been enjoying them and smoking the shit out of them.
I can't decide if I'm a fan of box pressed or not.
I do like a box press, man. I'm a fan.
I mean, I like the New World, but I'm not sure if I like it more than just a regular rolled cigar.
Yeah, you're Lego Taylor. Folks, we're probably going to be dealing with Lego Taylor a good bit tonight. His internet's obviously just it's doing that thing it does. It's doing that thing it do.
Yeah, and you're starting to get a little more Lego-y for me, so sweet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great. Hopefully
not you. I'm saying like my connection is really starting to shit.
I was about to say, everybody's saying I'm good.
Yeah, you're good.
Well, hopefully I at least, being that I'm the pretty one of the show, hopefully at least I stay clear, and then, you know.
I'm not smoking anything tonight, but if I were, I would be smoking this right here. Arturo Fuente Hemingway. You can't see this at all, but I'm showing you. Work of art.
I can. It looks like a Lego cigar.
Yeah. I really want to smoke this. I'm not going to in here today because I don't have ventilation. I smoked myself out of here last time, and it was not pleasant.
Can we get a Whiskey Knife Fight shirt that has me, and then next to you, and it has like a Lego Taylor, and then like a normal like caricature of me, and then a caricature of like you in Lego mode?
I think we should, dude.
That's what we need. Lego Taylor shirt for Whiskey Knife Fight.
The internet here is quite bad, and I've had them out here since I allegedly had it fixed, and here we are, same problem. So
that's crazy, dude. That's wild.
I'm so over it.
Yeah. Here's the thing. At least you're here. It's a little Lego-y. People can deal with it for a little bit longer. We apologize. The podcast won't notice the difference because the audio comes in fine because we record it locally. So
true. So if you don't want Lego Taylor, just listen.
Right. Just listen. Hopefully when you move though, this problem will be resolved.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I will be literally directly across the street. So I could throw a rock. Like if I were standing on the roof right here, I could throw a rock and hit the building I'm moving to. So
well,
I'm not going too far, which is good for me because I don't have to move stuff too terribly far. But
that doesn't mean your internet's not better, because remember they said there was some kind of fuckery in the wiring.
Yeah,
but they couldn't. So they probably didn't find it or fix it completely.
Yeah, I will be separated from this issue, and hopefully on Windstream, the guy who owns the building that I'll be moving to. I guarantee you, if he had a problem like this, he would probably kick their door in because I mean, we're talking the money this guy deals in is several magnitudes larger than anything I do. So if internet were to affect his business, he would probably come very close to murdering someone. Not really, but maybe. I mean, I don't know, but yeah, it's important business, and mine is less important in the grand scheme of things. So
I'm sorry. Yep. I'm just noticing the comments, and somebody's in here going, everything is awesome because of the Lego movie. Everything is awesome when Taylor's Lego man. Everything is awesome. Haven't you ever seen the Lego movie, dude?
Yes, I have. I'm groaning for a reason.
Oh, I think that everything is awesome was fucking great. It made me chuckle. I couldn't help it. I was like, oh that's so funny. So funny. So good. Just leave it small like this. It's harder to see Lego at a distance like this.
Yeah, great.
When we zoom in, the resolution looks worse.
Yeah. Well, hopefully this will be resolved. The move-in date for the next space is January 1st. So I don't know how that plays out in the scheme of our podcast, but
I think if it's fixed, I think people are going to miss Lego Taylor.
They may, but I won't. So the 8th would be, the first podcast would be actually a Friday Night Live on the 8th of January. So I will be moved in and settled by then, hopefully.
Very good. Very good.
But
that'll be nice.
All of that aside, let's get to the point here, because
the crux. The crux.
Yeah, because
what was today's video about? Oh, new cigars.
Yeah, tips for beginners. And I'm here to help you because I am a beginner, and you are so far gone that I don't think you know what it's like to be a beginner anymore.
I would agree and disagree.
I would agree. I heard your recommendations for what people should get as beginner cigars, and some of them are like, Texas Lanceros and shit. So
no, well,
look, guys, before I went to the cigar shop, I asked Jeremy for recommendations for beginners, and this is what he told me to buy. He said, "Don't buy anything else; just get this."
Yeah,
La Flor Dominicana.
No, I did not. You didn't buy that. You're such a fucking liar.
Ligero, Granu.
Ligero. I definitely did not tell him to get a double Ligero LFD. I actually warned him that he better eat something before he smokes that bitch, because if you haven't ever had an LFD cigar, especially the double or triple Ligeros, they'll kick your teeth in if you're not used to nicotine.
This is a 6x64? Is that how it's said? Or a 64x6?
If it's a 64 gauge, that is a fat ass cigar. Like, it doesn't look like it's that fat.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I looked up this cigar online and it said it was a 64. It's pretty fat. I mean, here's a Camacho next to it, which is, I don't know if I've got the size.
I think the Camachos are like 50s, 54s, 50 to 54 max, somewhere in there.
Am I too Lego for you to see this?
No, you're actually clear at the moment. Somewhat clear, at least for me.
It's a beef box, dude.
Okay, listen. I know we don't go to chat, but I need to.
Yes, you do. Literally every podcast.
It's true, I do. So I'm going to stop saying we're going to.
Literally every single one.
Here's my question though, because this is why Taylor says he thinks that I've completely lost touch with what it's like to be a new cigar smoker. Because, I mean, I've been smoking cigars for damn near.
You can smoke like 4 or 5 a day. So,
well, not always, but I definitely smoke a minimum of 2 a day. Sometimes as many as 3 or 4. You're absolutely right. But I've also been smoking cigars for damn near 20 years. So it's been a very long time since I've been a newbie, and I was a cigarette smoker before that, and I dipped and all these things. So, needless to say, being a virgin to the tobacco industry is long in my rearview mirror. So the reason Taylor says that I've lost touch is because one of the cigars, and this is why I said I'm curious to hear what the chat has to say if people in chat have smoked this. One of the cigars I suggested is a good beginner cigar because I think it is a relatively easy smoking, milder cigar, is the Camacho rum barrel aged. I think it's about a medium. It's about a medium bodied cigar. Probably I would err on the fact of maybe even mild to medium at certain points, probably more medium. And it's a fairly sweet cigar. It's not super peppery or aggressive. And Taylor says he thinks that cigar is a fucking ass kicker. And I was like, really? I don't get that. So I'm just curious if anybody in the chat has smoked a Camacho rum barrel age, if you guys think that that is an aggressive cigar, if you think it's more of a mild cigar that would be good for newbies.
I didn't say it was an ass kicker.
Well, you said it was stout.
It was pretty. Yeah, it wasn't like unbearable or bad. It was just definitely one of the more aggressive ones I've had. It was one of the only cigars I've had that's ever given me a head buzz. Really? And all I tasted pretty much all the way through was pepper. And I wasn't burning this one hot. Yeah, I was not burning this one hot.
Dude, you had to have been. That is not an overly peppery cigar. That cigar is not loaded with lots of pepper. I mean, here's the thing. Taste is subjective, right? So I'm not, saying that what you tasted is incorrect. But I'm just surprised to hear that. I do not get a ton of pepper.
Just saying, there are people out there who...
Yeah, I said it's medium. That's what I said. I said it's about a medium-bodied cigar.
Yeah, but if I'm saying... Okay. That's not really the point. I think less of the point for beginners is which cigar to buy. Like, I think it's an important factor. You should start with stuff that's a little more mild, sure. But I don't think one stout cigar is going to turn a newbie away. No. Maybe if they're like Peter and just suck the thing down and make themselves sick with it.
Right.
But I think there are definitely milder cigars to start with than that one, for sure. That's not one I would recommend to a beginner. As a beginner, that's not one I would recommend. Just saying. That's all I was getting at.
No, but I was just giving you shit. I was just curious.
I like to say that, you're too far gone.
No, I get it. No, and there's a question of if I am, right? Which is why I said I'm curious to hear what other people think. Because if 100 people are like, yeah, Jeremy, you're crazy. That cigar gives me a buzz every time I smoke it. Then I'm going to have to reevaluate some of the stuff that I think is because I mean, that's one that I've recommended to people before, like for people that are not super into cigars.
Brandon Hartman gets it. He says he's not saying you're wrong. He's just saying you're not right. Correct. So I did pick up some beginners of what Derek, the Cigar Loft owner, recommended. I think some of what you recommended and things that I've tried that I think were pretty mild. So one of them was not this LFD, by the way.
No, that is definitely not a beginner.
This is going to be my celebration cigar, either for my son being born in a couple of months or 200,000 subscribers, or probably both at the same time.
Well, let me just say this. That cigar right there, if you thought the Camacho was peppery and gave you a head buzz, you're going to need to make sure you have a good meal on you when you smoke that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Those LFDs are notoriously a little more on the bold side.
Yep. But see,
I love them though. They're good cigars.
Got my wrappers.
Nice, dude. What wrapper is that?
Quite a few in there. There's a Cookie Monster, Death Bucket 2, New World, the Camacho wrappers in there. Probably something else.
Huh.
Quite a few.
So, going on the kind of beginner cigar thing, right? An interesting topic because there's a lot of debate in the beginner cigar category, I feel like, because, and we've talked about this briefly in the podcast before, but we figured we'd do a whole episode and dig a little deeper. A lot of people think and tend to go directly for Connecticut's for new people. As soon as you say you're a new smoker, they want to recommend a Connecticut, much like that Camacho Connecticut.
You don't like Connecticut's?
There are some Connecticut's that I do enjoy, especially with coffee. I don't particularly like Connecticut's with whiskey, although Alec Bradley, I do that all the time because the fucking cigar company's Alec Rubin from Alec Bradley. And I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was saying the other night that he really enjoys Connecticut's or like a mild type cigar like that with an Islay whiskey. He thinks that when you're drinking a stubborn Scotch, like something like an Islay that's got a lot of real bold flavors, smoking a bold cigar with a lot of pepper and chocolate and stuff like that, you're just butting heads and it's just too much. And you need to smoke a cigar that kind of just gives in to the whiskey and doesn't fight it. Right.
Yeah. So there was a reason I actually wanted to do this podcast because we've been back and forth over, talking about whiskeys and like Scotch versus bourbon and all these different topics. And I'm like, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for that. The reason I want to do these tips for beginners is because I am a beginner and there are things that I've done just because I know you and I have been frequenting a cigar loft and I kind of dove in head first into this. Like,
right. Oh, you did.
Dove straight in. And I've spent a lot of time watching videos and researching, reading to do things the right way. Because I wanted to give it a fair shot, mainly for you, because this is something you like and you're passionate about. And, I've enjoyed just about every single one I've smoked. So here I am, a few $100s later. And so the biggest thing I think for me coming into this, like not knowing where to start, wasn't what cigar to buy. It's overwhelming when you walk into a humidor and they're like 50 options in front of you. That's overwhelming, but that's no different than getting into whiskey or anything else, right? It's
some humidors are even worse than that, man. I've been in some that are just, there's hundreds of different boxes.
I mean,
of cigars.
I showed you that one near me. That's like just a whole space, like the whole building is a humidor.
Yeah. You gotta you kind of gotta know your way around cigars if you go into a humidor that big to not be overwhelmed with the variety because it's just, there's so many shapes and sizes and colors and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. So for me, it wasn't that. It was just, ask somebody who knows and go on some recommendations and then go from there. That's the same way you get into whiskey or anything else. You get some recommendations, you buy some, you either like it, you don't, move on. Right. That's not overwhelming. It may be for some people, but that wasn't what was overwhelming for me. Someone said, get a Connecticut. I got this Camacho Connecticut. It was an easy smoke. Felt great. I got a little head buzz after because this was when I went to the loft and picked this one up. That was the first cigar I'd had in months for a very long time. And
let me interrupt you for 1 second.
I didn't eat before I went either. And I drank a bunch of coffee and I smoked this thing down in like an hour. And I'm just like, shit.
Well, that's a good point. That's why I said I want to interrupt because I think that's a good point. And it's for beginners, especially. Light wrapper does not mean light nicotine, right? And I think a lot of people
and dark
think that it does.
Dark doesn't mean strong. This here is a super easy smoke. One of my favorites so far. This is a New World from AJ Fernandez.
I think that's a good point for newbies to know that dark doesn't mean crazy, peppery, strong, kick you in the teeth, and light doesn't mean light and airy, low nicotine. The color of the wrapper has zero to do with the amount of nicotine in the cigar, right? Now, you can speak in generalities. Generally, lighter wrapper cigars are a little lighter and maybe less nicotine, a little lighter bodied, but that's not a sure and fast rule by any means. So,
right.
I just don't want newbies to go into a humidor and be like, oh, I'm new, I should grab a light wrappered Connecticut because that's not going to give me a buzz because it's going to be low nicotine, because there are some fairly high nicotine Connecticut's out there. Just a point.
Yeah. But since we're talking tips, best tip I can give you, and this is what you just told me about that LFD, eat.
Eat.
Lay off the coffee before, or if you do drink coffee, well, I'm saying, like, if you haven't eaten.
Oh, yeah.
When I went
empty
into
stomach coffee cigar for a newbie is a disaster for like butt pee and feeling dizzy.
And that's what I did when I left here at like 3:00 on a Friday. I hadn't eaten in like 8 hours. I had just downed some coffee and I went and smoked a cigar. And I'm like, whoa. When I finished, I was pretty head buzzy. And on my way out, the owner of the shop, he was like, hey, if you're feeling a little head buzz, just drink this Sprite. So he handed me a can of Sprite.
Yep.
I felt good like 2-3 minutes later. Like I felt fine.
And that's a tip that I always tell people.
And eat. And if you do forget to eat and you get a little head buzz, just eat something sweet.
Yep.
Right. Like that's the first thing I learned.
Spoonful of honey, super sugary soda, candy bar. The more sugar, the better, because, and I could be, don't hold me to this. I don't want people to be like, well, Jeremy, actually, but from what I understand, nicotine, the reason you get nauseous is because the nicotine does something with your blood sugar, which I think it makes your blood sugar drop. So then you get lightheaded, nauseous, and all the things that come along with low blood sugar. So quickly replacing it with, somebody had mentioned orange in the chat. Yeah. Fruit, apple, anything that's a high sugar content. I usually go candy bar and shit because, you know, a lot of times cigar lounges will have some candy or some shit or a soda or something. Orange is a far more healthy option for getting sugar to your system.
So when I've been going to the cigar loft, what I've been doing is pairing this with a spicy ginger beer.
Dude, I love root beer in cigars.
We're in the pandemic and pouring has been limited. So if you get something that's in a closed container, you can sell the bottle or the can. So I've been doing Goya ginger beer, and it's spicy and it sets off a cigar, and it's extremely tasty. So that's something I've been doing, and you don't have to worry about the head buzz or anything. It just kind of
another two sodas. If he has, you should try with a cigar, because I enjoy both. I don't enjoy soda with cigar much, right? Like I normally prefer coffee, whiskey, potentially a beer if we've talked about it, a stout, but I really love root beer and cream soda. Both of those are,
I can definitely see the root beer. Cream soda is probably a little too sweet for me.
Yeah, well, it depends on the cigar, right? But
so, I actually paired this right here with, I think it was a Cookie Monster. Yeah. So this
that is a crazy orange colored beer. I'm sorry, that thing is a wild color. Like that shit is, that's wild.
Jeremy, looking. I just don't think you've had good beer. Seriously.
Buddy, I have had it. That looks like a fucking blue moon almost. It's like that orange.
No. This is nothing like a blue moon, because that's like a wheat beer. This is a juicy beer. If you let it settle, there are like particulates in it. This isn't necessarily a hazy IPA, but it's pretty close. But it's called juiciness.
Somebody told me hazy IPAs make your fart stink.
That was me.
Was that you?
Oh yeah, sulfuric farts to the max. They're unfiltered and they are bad. Yeah, Blue Moon sucks. But Sycamore juiciness is something local to me that is just really, really tasty.
Man, every time I drink this Glenmorangie, I get more citrus. I get a lot of citrus in that whiskey. It's good. It's a great, easy.
What I was saying is this is a very citrusy, like juicy, citrusy beer.
And we're both drinking citrusy drinks.
Yeah. Some reason this just set off that Cookie Monster. I don't know what it was. My buddy was there and I made him try it too. And he was just like, holy shit. I don't know what it was, but it was such a good pairing. It was accidental. Like I was already drinking that when I lit the cigar, and it was just really good.
Some of the best pairings I've had have been accidental. You know, it's just, you happen to be drinking it and you're like, oh, what the fuck just happened there? That was magical. Like sometimes you can a lot of times pick what you think will probably be good or to be good, but sometimes you just hit those, something just lands just right and it's delicious.
Well, it's unfortunate because I was also smoking one of these. Oh my God, Alex.
The DB2s.
Stop
the Death
texting
Bucket
me. It comes through my computer now and it's just like bang right in my ear. I don't even know how to turn on. I don't know how to turn on.
Talking dirty to you. She can't do that in chat.
Yeah, no, it's just bang right in my ear like 8 times in a row. But no, it was unfortunate because this right here is a ridiculously good smoke.
Yep.
The Death Bucket 2, so
Death
good.
Bucket 2.
And there is a very similar beer from Sycamore called Mountain Candy, and it's a really good beer. But I was drinking that beer and smoking the Death Bucket 2 the other day, and it was just pure bitter garbage. Like it was so, I guess the word you use is acrid. I don't know. It was just like,
it goes to like
mouth, like just,
yeah. When I say acrid, so because it's sometimes it goes to like, you know, like if you eat the char off of a steak, and I don't mean like a nice charbroiled steak, but like if you get a chunk of like char, like all black, like a little piece of the fat that got totally burned to black, and you eat it,
I love that.
It's just kind of, it's got this kind of acrid, bitter flavor though. Like I don't know how to. I don't like it if it's totally black. It tastes like fucking charcoal.
This was like, God, I don't even know what to compare it to. It was awful. So bad that I put the beer up, waited a minute to take another drag, and I switched to whiskey.
Something else I just saw in the chat, which is another good tip for beginners. If you want the best chance for a cigar to be great, right? Eat a steak dinner. Somebody had just said is steak dinner to go with cigars. Man, to me, that is the best pregame meal for a cigar. There's something about a good steak dinner with a cigar after. I don't know if it's the fats in the steak or what it is, but man, it always, some of my best cigar experiences have been after a nice steak dinner.
So what about
Mexican food is horrible before a cigar?
What about that cigar could have made that so bitter? Because even after I stopped drinking that beer, it was bitter. And I had 5 Guys for dinner before that. So
that should be a pretty decent. That's like, you know, beef.
Yeah,
it's good.
But it was just bitter all the way through. The first one was amazing. The second one had a lot of bitterness to it until
what
probably
cigar was it? The DB2?
Yeah. I still enjoyed most of it, but that first like half of the cigar, so the first third and then the second, like the first half of the second third was just like almost unbearable. I almost stopped smoking it, but I didn't want to because
there's a few things that I have found that, like I said, but this doesn't fall under what you said because you said you had a burger, but I found that if I eat Mexican food or anything super spicy, it kind of fucks with my palate a little bit. And like then when I smoke cigars,
I had hot sauce and jalapenos on the burger. Oh, a bunch of jalapenos.
Yeah, I mean, I found that anything super spicy like that kind of messes with my palate. And then if I smoke a cigar after, it tastes more peppery than it should and hotter and kind of spicier and a little more bitter. And it just kind of fucks with the flavor profile if I've eaten anything super spicy, like, which is why I don't generally like to eat Mexican before I smoke a cigar. So it could have been the jalapenos, kind of might have messed your palate up a little bit. And then after you got through half of it and had time to really, you know, get your palate washed out good, then maybe it came back around. That could have been it. You could have been smoking the cigar a little too hot.
I don't think I was
smoking a cigar hot. Smoking a cigar hot will make it bitter.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. I don't think that was the issue. Could have been, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, going back to what you said a little earlier about pairing, one thing I've enjoyed, especially like if I feel the cigar I'm smoking is a little much, I will go get like something like Ardbeg, and it really just dumbs down the cigar to a point where it's like, you know, bearable if it's a little more than if it's a little more than what you expected or not the flavor you were hoping for, whatever. That's what I've done. If the cigar is just too much, I go grab the Ardbeg or Lafroig and go to town. So I think that's another really good tip is, I mean, you don't want to blow out your cigar unless you're not enjoying it the whole lot. If you're not enjoying it, put the thing out, just walk away from it. But if you're just maybe a little overwhelmed by it, maybe pour something a little stronger.
Yeah, get a little Ardbeg, clean out the palate a little bit. Oh, I wouldn't call it cleaning out the palate, but kind
burn
of
those taste buds.
Yeah, just to change it a little bit. But
load them.
I think newbies just going from soup to nuts, start by having a good meal, like you had said, so you don't get the nicotine sickness. Preferably a steak dinner, just because I found that those tend to enhance the flavors of most cigars best. There's something about that meaty, savory fattiness of a good steak that doesn't disrupt a cigar the way hot food or spicy food or stuff like that. I find that dairy is often not great with cigars. Makes your phlegm kind of thick and your spit kind of weird because of the dairy, and then it can make cigars a little, depending on your kind of level with things. Whiskeys can be great with cigars, but if you're just learning how to smoke a cigar and you really want to taste it, I would suggest just drinking it with some water, some sparkling water. A lot of times when people are tasting cigars for reviews, or they're writing a article on a cigar, or they're doing like competitions, or not competitions, but they're judging cigars and whatnot, they just have a little bit of water or sparkling water because they don't want to taint their palate. That's going to be the way you get the flavors out of the cigar the best. I don't know if that's necessarily the best idea for a newbie, because maybe you want a little bit of whiskey, like you were saying, to take the edge off a little bit because you're new to it. So just know that when you smoke a cigar with coffee or whiskey or anything like that, it is going to change the flavor of the cigar. It's not going to be the truest representation of that cigar. And if you really want the truest representation, stick with water or some sparkling water or something light like that.
The other really big tip, and you've mentioned smoking too hot lately, but the biggest tip is I had to look up, and this, I have no shame, because I just didn't know. I had to look up how to smoke a cigar just to make sure I was doing it right. And what I learned is that I was probably just a little too aggressive. Where was that soundbite? Hang on.
Here we go. Yeah, I knew we're going to make it to a fucking night without Taylor's soundboard.
Where is it? Where is it?
Oh, you can't find it? That's too
you
bad.
can definitely get aggressive on your sucking.
That was Jeremy's reply. He said,
but you could definitely get aggressive on your sucking.
I was just drawing too hard, and I think too frequently, and it was heating up the cherry, and it was also tunneling really bad, which I'll get to in a second. But and it was just making everything a little too bitter, and that's why I was like, why is this cigar mouth after the fact just so bad? Like, I can't get rid of that taste.
Yeah.
And I actually had a little bit of that with that DB2 I smoked, because it was so bitter. Yeah, I was smoking that one a little fast. I don't think I was, but maybe I was. But the cigar mouth after the fact was something that was a little interesting for me to deal with, because I'd had it with a lot of cigars, but I hadn't, since I'd been smoking more and more, I didn't really have any bad after effects or anything. Like the one I smoked last night, I had a New World last night. No problem. But after like the DB2 or something I've smoked too hot, like I wake up the next morning and it's all I can taste. It's everywhere.
Yeah. So it's funny. And I do want to get to something else that we missed that I think is probably one of the most important things for newbies, but not most important, but it's a very important thing a lot of newbies are completely unaware of. But it's funny, when you asked me about that the first time, I think we covered this on a podcast before, but you said, how do I get rid of like the cigar taste? It's like, I still taste it the next morning. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right. Well, that's why you might be too far gone. Because
I'm so numb to that cigar taste, I don't even notice it.
Right. And you get so nuanced. It's no different than like drinking a bunch of whiskeys or even coffee. Like, you get so nuanced in your palate that certain things, and you become so used to it. It's like being nose blind.
Right.
Like, if your house smells like shit 100% of the time, you don't really realize that after a while. But anyone who comes in is like, this place stinks. Like, what the fuck is going on here?
Like a bucket of dicks.
Right. And I think it's the same thing where you're so used to the taste. I just saw somebody say, brush your teeth before you go to bed. No, what I'm talking about is like, you brush your teeth, mouthwash, floss, like drink citrus, and citrus is supposed to get rid of that flavor and taste. Doesn't matter. I drink lemon water all the time. I drink lemon water after the fact, brush my teeth, I do everything, and I wake up and I still have it in my mouth. Only if I've smoked a cigar like way too hot and And I know pretty soon after I finish the cigar that I've done that. So that's something I've learned is slow down and
enjoy
don't try to suck the end through, like just
you're not trying to suck start a Harley.
Yeah, there we go.
Just relax.
Jeremy, to put things eloquently. No, I think it was Cigars Daily. I watched a video by him on. Maybe it was him. I can't remember who it was. No, it wasn't. It was two guys sitting in a cigar lounge talking about like cigar etiquette, and what they were saying is like when you draw, it's more like drinking something through a straw. Like you're not trying to like you just kind of gentle draw.
I need to be careful about making a soundbite here, but you just want to take a long. Nope. I'm just going to stop because you're fucking putting a flag here and I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm just going to stop. I'll get back to that.
Trying to get it back to the right soundboard.
The other point that I was going to make though, before we go too far into, because I'm trying to kind of keep this linear in the cigar smoking experience. Like what's a good pre-game meal and through the cigar smoking experience as we're going, just to kind of somewhat stay on task as much as we can for me.
We've been all over the place.
Another important thing about smoking cigars and people that don't know is just cutting them.
Yeah, no, that was my next point.
Right. Like
if you out the cutter.
Yeah. If you don't know how to cut a cigar, you can fuck that up.
So
big time. And your buddy did this, which tell that story, Taylor. It's amusing.
I love Jabin to death. He's a good kid. But we were having our first little meeting at the cigar loft and he picks out a cigar. I think he said he'd smoked like one or two before. Pulls out the cutter, cuts the end off, lights that end. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, and even more confusing for people is some cigars are closed on both ends. So some cigars it'll be closed on both sides.
Yeah, this is that Hemingway I told you about earlier, the work of art and the short story. They're both called perfectos. Is that right?
Yep. Some perfectos are closed on both ends, and then even a Parejo type cigar, sometimes you'll have a closed foot, and then so it'll be closed on both ends.
So this
you're a little Lego, but yeah, I mean it's closed on both ends. Shouldn't be totally closed on the other end. I don't think. Usually there's a little bit of a hole.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hole, but this is called the nipple. I learned.
Well, that's what I call it because it looks just like a little nipple, little Hershey Kiss nipple.
But I looked up before I even decided to smoke this. I was going to smoke this last night, but I didn't. But I had to look up how to light it. Like, what do you do? And this one is different, right?
Yep.
You just light the nipple, just a little bit of the nipple. Get it hot.
A little bit of the nipple. Some people will cut that off, but I think the proper etiquette would be just to light it.
Well, I learned why you don't cut the end off because the first little bit you're actually just tasting the wrapper.
Right. It's the same with a closed foot cigar, right? So some cigars, I don't think I have any with a closed foot.
This is also
a closed foot, but sometimes it'll be a
Cameroon wrapper, which is
that's a Cameroons are good.
Yeah, I don't think that's all too common, is it? Cameroon wrapper.
I mean, it's not uncommon. AJ Fernandez has a New World Cameroon that has a Cameroon wrapper that's real good. It's like a green label cigar, but yeah,
I really want to
even closed foot cigars, right? So sometimes it's not tapered like that, but the wrapper leaf will just wrap over the end of even like a Parejo, like a normal shaped cigar. The wrapper leaf will wrap over the end of it. And it's like a closed foot. And, a lot of times when you light a cigar, a lot of people will toast it prior to what they call toasting the cigar before they go to lighting it, which is just kind of like lightly charring the end of the cigar. So it helps to get it even burn and get everything going. But with a closed foot, a lot of times people will go right to the puff because they want to get that hit of just the wrapper so that they can really taste the flavor of that wrapper. Much so like those Hemingways and other perfectos. A lot of people like to taste that heavy wrapper influence on the first couple puffs, and they don't go to really toasting very much. They'll go right to the light.
Well, there's a lot less to light there too, right?
Well, yeah. Sometimes those are a little tricky to light because there's such a little bit of to light there that they don't want to get going right away sometimes. But the thing about the cutting though, you were saying your friend cut and then lit the other side, which is fun, or lit the cut side, which is funny.
Yeah.
But another big tip is don't cut too much of the cigar. You don't want to cut past the shoulder of the cigar, right? So the shoulder of the cigar on like a Parejo is where that curve is. You don't want, if you cut your cigar and that bitch is flat and there's no taper, then you've really cut too deep, right? You don't,
I did
you want to just, yeah, you just want to go, you're normally, you can see the cap on a cigar. There'll be little lines. Sometimes it's a single cap if it's like a Padron, or sometimes they're double and triple caps, but you can see the little cap on the end of the cigar, and you don't want to cut past that because that's holding the end of the cigar together. And if you cut past that, sometimes you'll get unraveling issues where your cigar will unravel, and that's a real pain in the ass, which is why sometimes for beginners, a punch might be a better option, right? Because you can't, it's hard to fuck a punch up.
I've still never used the punch. I've still never punched a cigar. I always told myself I've always told myself the next one I'm going to punch, and then I never do it.
It's hard to fuck up a punch. Punch is not a bad go-to for a beginner.
But on something like this, like it's kind of harder for me to know where to cut on a torpedo. I was reading like a 1/4 inch, but I mean,
torpedoes are kind of tricky because it is different, right? Usually I'll cut as little as I can, and I'll take a draw off of it, like just a dry, and then if it's too stiff, I'll cut just a little bit more, and just cut until you get your draw where you want it. You got to be careful of those kind of cigars though, the Perfectos, because they're tapered on both ends. So when you first draw on it, it's going to seem tight because you have a little air hole at the other end, and it'll open up as the cigar kind of goes.
Yeah. And that's one thing about this, that I think makes it so interesting is it's tapered. So it tapers out and then back in, and your draw and everything changes throughout the smoke, it changes throughout. And they said this is much more intense because it is a really short torpedo too. So I really want to test this out. I haven't, it's been calling my name. I should have just smoked it last night. But.
It'd be a good one. AB just said he loves a punch. Does that make him a beginner? No, Alec. That definitely does not make you a beginner. A lot of very seasoned guys love a punch. A punch is probably the cleanest way to cut a cigar. There's very little risk of fucking it up if you don't like. The only way you can fuck a punch up is if it's not a sharp punch and you really cram it in there like hard.
And like pulls.
Well, you can crack your wrapper, right? Because you
were talking about this one time, doing like multiple punches on the end. Somebody said like a Mickey Mouse, but I don't have enough room for that on most of these. Like most of these are like,
it depends on the cigar. So a lot of times if you do a single punch, depending on the size of your punches, right? So some punches are pretty fat and they'll take out a huge hunk out of the end of the cigar, and then you don't normally have to do that. But with some smaller diameter punches, you'll punch it one time and the draw is just not quite right? It's still a little stiffer than you want. And then if it does, you can just go over to the right or left a little bit, or some people do the Mickey Mouse where they'll go up above it and imagine like the shape of Mickey Mouse ears on top and another circle. It's just giving you more open area at the end of the cigar to loosen the draw up a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, hey, some of the most seasoned cigar smokers out there, AB's talked about it. He does it all the time. AB Cigar Alec. That's what I'm calling him AB, but his name's Alec. They just thumbnail it, man. They'll just take their thumbnail and just pop the cap off of their thumbnail and get to smoking. I don't know if I'm a beginner if I'd go that route, because you got a pretty high chance of just ripping the fucking whole end of the cigar. But I would say a punch probably.
I've used a knife.
I've seen some old timers take out a fucking slip joint and dude, they'll V cut that bitch like 2 little cuts, and that thing's got a perfect V cut on it. I'm like, holy shit.
So that's the other thing that a little tip for beginner. I think getting a good cutter is a very good starting point. I mean, I started with a very good cutter, the Colibri SV cutter.
It's a great cutter.
Don't shut up, Siri. My iPad's here, and for some reason that activated Siri. But yeah, so this is nice because you have both options. But I never really know. I've not been able to decide if I like just a straight cut or a V cut better. V cut is way harder to mess up because at least with this one, I say it is because there's no gauging. You just stick that thing in there and cut.
Yep. Where I'll say that can fuck up. Where I'll say that can fuck up is if you cut too small of a ring gauge cigar with the V cut, right? So you put like a Lancero in there and snip it, you're going to cut the whole fucking end of the cigar off, because the Colibri particularly is a deep V. They call it a deep V because it does do a pretty deep cut on a cigar. But you're right. It takes a lot of the guesswork out. If it's the right gauge cigar, you
Right.
pretty much can't fuck it up.
Like your standard, like any of these are all about 50 ring gauge.
Yeah,
like all of
50 ring gauge, 54, up to a 60 even. You can even cut a 60 with this, and it won't fit all the way down in there, but it'll still get a little V out of the middle and get you going.
Let's test it, Barry. I'll just light this thing up. Actually, it fits perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think a 50 to a 54 is probably exactly what this circle here is, probably somewhere between a 50 and a 54.
Can you even see me right now?
No, you're pretty Legoed.
Oh.
Nope. All I can see. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Taylor
One day they all have internet again.
So somebody just said, and it's a great fidget toy. I agree, dude. This is like one of the most fidgety. It really.
No, so good fidget is something that doesn't make Alex yell at me. I did this like 3 times and she's like, never again. Stop.
I disagree. I think a good fidget has to annoy people or it's not a good fidget toy. But there's a couple other tips that I've heard people say. One of them I don't always agree with. One of the tips a lot of people use to tell newbies how to cut a cigar is I don't have a normal cutter. All I have is one of these. But anyway, the premise is to open your cutter. If you're doing a straight cut, open your cutter. Where's where at where you guys can see this? Open your cutter. You put it flat down. Now this is not the right cutter but I'm just for example. Open your cutter, put it flat on the table like that, then put your cigar down in there and then cut it, right? Because it's flat on the table, you're only going to be able to go so deep and then it'll gauge how deep you cut the cigar, right?
That's like a horrible tip.
Well, a lot of people recommend it. And if you've got a normal thin cutter, it works pretty well.
This
works pretty well.
This one's gauged too, the SV cutter, because it's got the backing for the V cut side stops the cigar from going in too far. So you can only go in far. But I found on some cigars that's a little too deep.
It is a little too deep.
There was one that I threw it in there and cut, and it was past the shoulder.
Yeah. Right. So a lot of people do that trick. But I found that with certain cutters, you have to be careful, like you were saying, because if it's a thick cutter, you can go too deep that way, which is why I don't always recommend that to everybody, because
just watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
Look for the right mark, look for the cap. What I've been doing with my straight cut, if I do a straight cut, is I go just on the inside of the cap. Because I think that's a pretty safe bet on most that I've seen. Is just go just inside the cap and
just go just above where you see the edge of that cap and then snip and you're good. There's a very cheap cutter that I recommend to a lot of people. It's very inexpensive and it's great. It's called a Cuban Crafter's Perfect Cutter. And it's just a standard cutter, but it's got a flat backstop in it to where you can't go too deep. And it literally only takes just the perfect amount out of, it's not like this one where, because there's a groove, so you can cut a little too deep on the wrong ring gauge. The Perfect Cutter has like a solid flat backstop in it. So like, no matter what ring gauge cigar, you cannot cut it too deep. Like it's a hard stop. So, just the point is, newbies, just mind your end of your cigar, pay attention to what you're doing. Don't cut past the cap. And when you're pulling on it, long and slow, buddy. Just take long, slow pulls on it. You want to enjoy it. You're not trying to hotbox it. It's not a cigar. It's not a cigarette and you're on a 5-minute smoke break. Taylor's completely frozen, by the way, so I'm just going to keep talking. You're not on a 5-minute smoke break at work and trying to huff down a Marlboro Red. Just take it easy, long, slow pulls on it, and enjoy it. That's what it's for. So Trevor says soundbite. Yeah, I'm Taylor's probably locked up because he's too busy flagging the audio so that he can make sound bites out of me talking about taking long, slow pulls on stuff. AB says Taylor's hurting his feelings. Oh, he wasn't. You know what, man? I don't know. Taylor's having issues, but I could maybe send you a link if you want to jump on here for a few. If you're able, we could always see if that's a possibility. Taylor, you might have to go to hotspot tonight, son. You're fucking
switched.
Huh?
That's why I went away.
Oh, you did? Oh, really? Normally your hotspot comes back pretty clear. You're still pretty Legoed. AB says his feelings are hurt that he wasn't brought on as a guest tonight because we're talking about cigars. Because Alec definitely has a lot of good tips. And I told him, I said, if he's available, we could probably send him the link real quick and he could jump on for a little while.
Yeah, if he wants to. Let me go grab my hotspot. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, Alec, if you're around, man, and you're near a computer and you can jump on, let me know and we'll send you a link and you can jump on for a few and talk some stuff to the folks about cigars and tips from a proper cigar professional. You know what I'm saying? So just let me know in the chat if you're around and you can jump on. If not, it's no big deal, man. I know you might be at home just chilling. So, but just let us know. But yeah, so we went over cutting them. We went over lighting. Should we talk about lighting maybe?
Yeah, so that was the next thing I wanted to talk about.
Text Alec a link. I can just forward him that link you sent me, right?
Yeah.
Get old AB on here for a few. Little impromptu.
Hey, and you might have somebody to actually talk to when my internet dies. Oh, wait. We're not going to have his audio for the audio alert.
What do you mean? It won't come through?
We have an audio version of this podcast.
I know. So
no, not for either of us because we...
Can we make that work?
Not without either me echoing on your stream or you echoing on mine.
Hold on, AB. We're thinking. We're trying to think here. If we do the audio, so how would we do the audio version if we had a guest on normally? Taylor is locked up hard tonight, folks. He's locked up hard. Locked up hard. What the fuck is going on? I'm trying to pull up Alec. I'm going to send you this link, Alec, but don't click it yet because we're trying to see if we can figure out the technical part of the Alec, I sent you the link, buddy, but just hold on a second. Let's see if we can figure out the technical details because we do the audio only portion of the podcast and it's recorded on our soundboards that we have locally here. And I don't know if we can get your audio patched through properly. So wait a second. Taylor's froze up right now anyway, so I don't know what the hell's going on. We're falling off the streams, folks. We might have to just make this no oh, holy shit. He's clear, ladies and gentlemen.
I went and got my other hotspot.
Is there a way that we can get his audio? I mean, how would we normally have a guest on and get the podcast local?
I don't know. We'd have to have them record their audio.
Yeah, let me see. Well, there's a way you can bring in.
It's easy if they just call in and they're not on video. Because then I can just pipe their audio through a phone call.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I could do that. That's easy. But if they're on stream and they called in, their audio is not going to match up. Sitting here troubleshooting in the middle of
Hey, man, it's on the fly, baby. That's how we do shit on the Whiskey Knife Fight, baby. We fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Alec, do you want to try that? Just call in and we can test that out.
You cut the podcast too deep and now it's unraveling.
Yeah, it's like a cigar. You cut it too deep, baby, it's gonna unravel. Yeah. What's you mean to just text him your phone number? Is that how you want to pipe him in?
I mean, he can type into your phone too. It doesn't matter. You can call me or you.
How do
All you do is connect your phone to the Bluetooth thing.
Okay, I can do that.
And then you're going.
I'm a boomer, Taylor. You got to walk me through this.
Then you're going to hit the green ear. And then volume up to roughly where yours is.
All right. I'm connecting. Okay. AB, call me on my phone, buddy. We're going to try to do an audio. Connected. We're going to try. I connected it to the pod or to the.
If only we could have him. If only we could have him actually on the stream.
I know it'd be better to have him on the stream, and we'll have him on again one night to actually talk about like cigars as a whole, for sure. But just as a quick, have him on for a few minutes, give him, his beginner suggestions. We can just do the audio version. And,
yeah, is it connected?
It is. He hasn't called me yet. AB, just call my cell phone, buddy. And we'll try to pipe you in on the audio version.
Yeah, it should work. Just make sure you volume up it to. Yeah. After there it is. It's calling in. I hear your audio. I hear the audio.
Let's see. Let's see. Can we hear him now? Say so. Hold on. I don't hear him. Let me see something. Hold on, Alec. I'm trying to.
Did you hit the green ear?
Hold on. I got to make it say. Let's see. How about now? Say something, Alec.
Can you hear me?
Oh,
hey, it worked. Look at me over here troubleshooting. All right, now hang up on him because
I can only hear you. I can't hear Taylor.
You cannot hear Taylor?
Can't hear me.
Unless he's just not speaking. No, I can't hear him.
I mean, honestly, do you really need to hear Taylor? I mean, let's be honest.
Not really. It's not beating right now. He probably would.
I think the only way he can hear me, I think the only reason he can't hear me is because you have your red mute button on. But if you get rid of that, I'll echo on the podcast.
Let's just test that real quick, and you can edit that part out. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Now
see, I bet he can hear me now.
Yeah. Taylor,
can you hear me now? See, and then I'm going to echo through yours, I think.
So do you want to try to let that ride for a minute and do the edit on this few minutes of the podcast, or you want to just let him not hear you?
You know, it works for me.
Okay. So thanks, buddy, for jumping on real quick. I'm sorry we can't do the video portion, but like I was telling him, I don't know if you heard me when we were talking. I definitely want to have you back on one night and do like a proper video version with you on and talk about your cigars and all your thought. Maybe we'll do like a best way to taste a cigar or some shit. I don't know, some other kind of cigar based.
Whatever you guys want to do, I'm in. But I do got to say, Jeremy, I listened to all your advice tonight. You know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, thanks. See, I'm not an idiot.
Well, I don't think we've ever disagreed on anything when it comes to cigars.
No, that's the thing that me and Alec get along, and I'll throw a little hint out there. And Alec, if I hope you don't get mad that I say this, but Alec is working on doing a Jeremy blend. We're blending a cigar. We're going to put out a Jeremy Sires cigar. I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll have to come up with a cool name, not just call it Jeremy Sires because that's boring. But Alec was the perfect person to do that with because I mean, AB cigars are great. We all know that. Come on. And B, me and Alec's palates are so similar when it comes to cigars. It's not even funny. Like we love a lot of the same stuff. So it made sense. It made sense that I was like, this is the guy that's going to hit the nail on the head with, having it the way that, oh, look, Taylor put in like a little, he's got the Kintsugi on there. can you still see the stream? Alec, are you watching?
I can see it, but it's just a little bit behind. But I see it now. That's super cool, Taylor.
Put the Kintsugi, by the way, is there? Is it out yet? Have you guys dropped it?
It launched a few days ago. It hit stores a few days ago.
How's it doing?
I mean, the first 2 production runs are sold out already, so people are loving it. I'm getting texts from everyone saying how much they're enjoying it, which is great.
Dude, it's a great cigar. You sent me a couple I got a couple. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I got a couple somehow, some pre-releases. I got them through a person. I don't know who. It definitely wasn't Alec that sent them to me. And they were fantastic. You guys did a hell of a job. But so the production
is actually even better than the pre-release ones, I think. So I can't wait for you to try the production.
Oh, dude, I'm pumped. So
I can't wait for Taylor to try it too, because I doubt Taylor's had an Alec Bradley yet.
Dude, and he did have a Tempest, right?
I had a Tempest. And it was one of those that I was still just smoking way too hot. So I need another one. I got to go back to my shop and pick up another and try it again.
So that's a perfect segue, Taylor. Alec.
Yeah.
What tips do you have for anything that we haven't said that you can think of that you think that, new cigar smokers potentially fuck up when they're smoking cigars?
I missed part of the stream just because I ate dinner, but the one thing I will say is if your cigar is going out constantly, you're obviously smoking too slow. And if your cigar is either charring on you or is just getting super bitter from smoking too fast, you have to find that perfect medium. Mm-hmm. I'm one that I love to smoke fast.
Right.
And I have to mentally make myself slow down because it doesn't matter what brand you're smoking. If you're smoking too fast or too slow, you're either going to have some charring or some weird issues if you smoke too fast, and it's going to go out if you smoke too slow.
Well, and it's funny you say that. I've heard a lot of people in the cigar kind of realm talk about and each cigar is different, right? You have to find that happy spot in a cigar, right?
So if you have thick tobacco in the cigar, you're going to want to smoke a little bit faster, just because thick tobacco tends to go out a lot easier. So and if you have very thin tobacco, like a Connecticut wrapper, or even if the binder or filler, you're using a lot of secos or even maybe some thinner Vizos, you want to smoke a little bit slower.
So something like a Connecticut broadleaf, which is usually a pretty thick, dark brown, leathery type wrapper, that's one you can probably get away with huffing on a little faster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So a good way for Taylor to combat, the smoking fast is get something that's a little bit thicker in terms of tobacco.
Well, and a big problem Taylor was having in the
beginning. Part of my problem was also is they go out, but I don't think I'm smoking too slow. I mean, I could be, but my problem, I think, is that it was a multifaceted thing. I think I wasn't fully lighting, which is something we'll come back to because that's something I want to touch on. But it was that paired with being outside and sometimes humid. I think the Alec Bradley that I smoked was when it was, I was talking to you, and I think it was when that fog rolled in and it was just damp outside. So it was like 30 degrees and damp. So
I don't want to say thinner tobacco, but more on the medium side. So when you have a lot of humidity that you're adding to that, it's gonna go out easier with any cigar. Obviously, it's gonna go out easier just because you have all that humidity.
Right. So I have the misfortune of only being able to smoke outside right now, unless I go to the smoke loft, which it's after they close. So kind of stuck, but it is.
Well, that's what I was telling Taylor the night that he was smoking that. He's like, man, I'm having a really hard time with the cigar. He goes, but a really thick fog just rolled in. Do you think that's affecting it? I'm like, oh, dude, absolutely. Cigars are like big sponges, right? So if you're in a super humid environment, like a thick fog rolls in, that cigar is going to immediately start just pulling in all that moisture, and you're probably going to get tunneling because the outside of the cigar is going to get humid faster than the inside. So the inside is going to be burning faster than the outside, and you're going to get all these fucked up, weird smoke burning issues and stuff. So
tunneling has been, it's very impressive.
See, you hear that, Taylor? Listen. I just want
I don't believe anything Jeremy says. So.
Dude, I've been smoking cigars for 20 years. That's why when people try to call me out on videos and say stuff, I'm like, look, bitch, I've probably been smoking cigars longer than you've been alive. So you may or may not agree with what I'm saying because some of it's just personal preference, but don't tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about because
your age is showing.
When people disagree with you, it's always on personal preference stuff.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. And that's another note actually, I tell this to people with whiskey all the time too, right? Like, when people are I've had a lot of people ask me, like, how do you pull out flavors in a cigar? How do you pull out flavors in a whiskey and do this and do that? And one of my things I tell people oftentimes is, it does take time to develop your palate, but also like there is no wrong answer, right? Like if you are smoking a cigar and you taste whatever it is that your brain is telling you that tastes like, whatever your brain connects to that flavor, just write it down. That's correct. There is no wrong answer.
How many times do you think Jeremy has tasted Truly?
Or what were you saying, Taylor? Sorry about that.
I was just being a dick like I normally am. I said, how many times do you think Jeremy's tasted Truly and not written that down just for the sake of the argument?
I've certainly
what flavor.
I've never tasted Truly. I wouldn't even know what that shit tastes. Do they have different flavors of Truly? I don't even know. I thought it was all one thing like Zima. It's not. There's like multiples.
No, there's lots of flavors.
Oh, well, that makes it even fucking worse. It's probably all fruity shit too, isn't it?
Yeah.
The best part is, I bet you would like it if you tried it.
He probably would.
I'm sure I would, right? It probably tastes like a fucking fruit drink, like a fruit soda, like a grape soda or something. Like, I'm sure it's good. It's just, I mean, get the fuck out of here. If you want to drink something, drink some whiskey, man. Like, really, come on, dude.
I wish you could see the whiskey around me right now. This is my first drink in 2 weeks, so I've been missing it.
Oh, dude, Alec is not only a cigar aficionado, even though I kind of hate that word a little bit, aficionado, but he's also quite the bourbon guy and whiskey in general. He has a quite vast collection of bourbons and scotches. So not only is his palate is very diverse when it comes to cigars, but he's just about equally as good with the whiskeys.
That was very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, he was on, it was funny. He was on an episode of the Bourbon Junkies where they did pairings, and I think your pairing won, didn't it?
Yeah, I shit something.
God love the junkies, man. I love those guys. But yeah, you did come out victorious on that one.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I just like that they were siding with me on things as I was trolling. So I'm predisposed to really like those guys.
But yeah, so I'm trying to think of anything else, Alec, that you might, tips for beginners.
Well, you covered cutting, which I love the tip that you gave on putting the cutter down on the table. That's a great pro tip for a beginner to use those thin straight cuts to learn how to cut a cigar that way. I've seen a lot of people use it. I've taught a lot of people that way. The analogy of which I don't want to soundbite maybe either, but smoking a cigar like bringing water through a straw is actually how I teach people to learn how to smoke cigars. That's how I taught Bradley, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that was a great tip. And then lighting is really a personal preference, but you can really screw up a cigar by lighting it improperly.
You can. If you get, like, especially in my opinion, if you don't get it, I feel like, to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alec, but overcooking the end is probably less of a sin than undercooking it and only lighting half the cigar.
So one thing that we always do in our office is we actually intentionally half light cigars just to make sure that everything catches up properly. Because a good cigar, if you only light half of it, should be able to catch up no matter what.
Really?
Unless you're in some weird circumstance where you're outside and there's a lot of wind, or you're on your motorcycle smoking your cigar or whatever, like in the car with the windows down, you could have an issue then. But if you're inside smoking a cigar and you light, 3/4 of it, it should catch up on its own. They're made to do that.
Awesome. Well, see, and that's why you have the cigar professionals on the show, because they tell you shit like that. That's something that I didn't know, because historically speaking, I've always told people, like, make sure you get it lit good, because if you don't, you're not.
I mean, you definitely should. It's just a test that we do to make sure that our cigars, that's quality control.
Right.
That's just straight quality control.
Yeah. Because you're by lighting the whole end equally, you're just giving it the best shot at not doing weird shit. Right.
Yeah. Why would you want
smoking
to
indoors?
Not give yourself the best experience?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Overcooking a cigar, this is a curious thing that, and I don't know if this directly relates to newbies, but some people get super bougie about what they light their cigar with, right? Like,
yeah, we talked about this one.
Right. Like, people get so butthurt if they see me light a cigar with a Zippo. And I don't mean like a Zippo like the one I've got here tonight, which is a jet, which is butane. It's fine. But if they see you light it with a typical Zippo insert that's lighter fluid, they're like, oh, you've ruined it. That's the whole cigar's tainted now, and blah, 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 blah. You've got to only light it with a fucking cedar spill that was cut on a full moon and dried on the west side of a mountain. And you've got to dry. I mean, people get ridiculous with it, right? I personally don't notice a huge difference as long as you get it lit well. The
one thing I will add on this is no matter what you use, it's going to add some kind of flavor to your cigar, right? Even butane, which is supposed to burn the cleanest, still adds a little something. So at the end of the day, does it really matter? If you don't care, do it however you want it, because it's just about smoking a cigar and enjoying it the way that you like to enjoy it, right?
Right.
But if you can taste it, like when you light with a cedar spill, you're going to taste cedar on your first however many puffs. It's just going to happen. But, or for some people they will, some people they won't. It just depends on, if you're even paying attention to that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's just about enjoying the cigar the way you like to enjoy it. And I don't fault anyone for the way that they enjoy cigars. It doesn't really affect me in any way. So
right.
Whatever. And if I'll light a cigar with whatever I can get my hands on.
Right.
So
fucking fire.
Yeah, exactly.
There have been many times where I'm sitting by my fire pit and I'm like, I really need to touch this up. I really just want to like lean down.
Well, I'm also like, the main scary part about that is catching your beard on fire, right? It's like trying not to fucking. You're like, I put so much beard oil in my beard that like I could have a Michael Jackson moment at any time, right? It's like a big fucking torch. So I have to be extremely careful. But I think it's funny that the guys that are super bougie and like to light their cigar with a cedar spill, I'm glad you mentioned that. A cedar spill imparts as much flavor change on a cigar as a Zippo does. It's just different, right? So
I fucking love cedar. So I really kind of want to try that because
sure. And I mean,
cedar is just, it's such a good smell. I don't know about taste, but It's such a good smell.
And that's one, that's one of the reasons they put it in humidors and stuff, right? Because it has a good smell to it. But it definitely, I've lit cigars with the cedar spill to see what the whole hubbub was about. And I taste that cedar spill in a cigar stronger and longer than I do taste the Zippo fluid from a Zippo. So I think it's so funny that they're saying you've tainted the cigar by lighting it with a Zippo, yet they'll light it with a cedar spill, which is still tainting it just in a different way. So
yeah, I mean, I've lit my cigar with a natural gas stove before, so it really doesn't.
Dude, anything you can, if it's hot and it'll get that tobacco cooking, fucking use it. That's my opinion.
Exactly. I mean, I've used car lighters. I've used anything I need to get my hands on.
Dude, a car lighter. Do they still have those anymore? I mean, I definitely remember car lighters.
I've not seen one
very well, but I haven't seen one in a car in years.
I used to do it in my car all the time.
Is that still a thing? Are there any cars that actually still have those?
Yeah. And when I had a Honda Accord, I did that all the time in the car.
I mean,
my Tacoma didn't even have one.
I mean, they've still got the ports, right? All cars, that's what we use because that's what you use to charge shit with, right? But they don't normally come with a lighter. They just have a little cap on it now. My truck's like that. It's got two of them, but they both got just little caps on them that you flip down when you want to charge something. A lot of newer cars have USB ports in them.
Mine has a freaking 120 volt inverter.
For beginners, and then I'll jump off.
Okay, shoot. Let's hear it.
So a lot of people, when they're new smokers, think that a cigar might be too strong for them at the beginning. And a lot of times what they're equating with strength, it's actually an abundance of flavor. So a cigar might just be too flavorful for a newer palate at the beginning. Like if you drank higher proof whiskey versus something that's about 80 proof, the amount of flavor that it imparts on the palate is just overwhelming. So just be careful you're not equating nicotine strength with an abundance of flavor.
Alec, that is actually, and that's why we had you call in, man. That's actually a genius call. And another thing I would add to that is don't judge a cigar right off the rip, because a lot of times the first quarter to half inch of a cigar is very different than what it settles into after it's had some time to warm up.
Yeah. And your palate kind of gets used to what you're tasting to. I was just saying your palate also kind of gets used to what you're smoking, right? So after the first several draws, you kind of
acclimate.
Yeah.
No, agreed.
Yeah, you should always give a cigar an inch before judging it, just because your palate does need time to acclimate 100%.
I actually mentioned that, I think, in my last, when I was doing a review of the 101, the Death Bucket 2, is that, the first third of a cigar isn't always my best tasting notes, because oftentimes it really, in that second third, is to me when a cigar really comes to life. Like it usually that's the sweet spot when it really starts getting good, is in like the last part of the first third, beginning of the second third is when it really starts hitting its stride, in my opinion.
I completely agree. And because of the way that cigars are rolled, the tobacco that is in the foot of the cigar is going to be a little bit harsher, just because of the way that the plant grows and the way that they lay the tobacco in the cigar. So sometimes it takes that's why a lot of people say that cigars are front loaded, but actually it's just a little bit of extra, maybe like flavor or harshness might be in the foot, just because it's how they've done it forever, or that's how they've always done it. And it could impart a little more bitterness or whatever it may be at the beginning of that cigar. So sometimes that's why it takes an inch whilst like getting into the cigar for you to get to more nuanced flavors.
See, and that's why you have a cigar professional on here, because he's saying shit that see what I'm saying? That's good information right there.
Well, see, it's funny you say that, because I was gonna disagree with what you said. I watched your video and I was like, no, for me, like from the perspective of a beginner, it's always been like the first 3 or 4 draws where I get the most flavor, which is kind of in tune with what you said, but that's where I taste the most. And then once I get into the middle, and it may be me smoking outside and having struggles with humidity and stuff, but I always tend to have like flavor drop off towards the middle, and it's probably because I'm sitting here relighting and having trouble with it. But for me, far as a newbie,
you're always going to have the most flavor on the light, always.
Because
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The middle is when it kind of, to me, hits its sweet spot, meaning and Taylor, to somewhat agree with what you're saying. The middle is when all the flavors start playing together and everything kind of rounds off usually and smooths out and everything gets good and you start getting the more nuanced flavors and everything gets happy. Like Alec was saying in the beginning, it's very punchy and strong usually. And potentially for a new palate, that's when you're, getting all these flavors that maybe toward the middle, you're not picking up on because your palate's not very nuanced yet.
I think that's exactly what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm. And see, the punchy part is the part that I'm like, it's okay, but I like it once it kind of rounds off a little bit and I can start pulling some flavors out. Because when I'm sitting down with a cigar to take notes because I'm doing a review on a cigar, it's really hard in that first third for me because there's so much shit going on and it's all very loud, right? So usually like in the first third, you're getting like only a couple of the notes that you'll end up getting in a cigar. Like you might get leather, earth, pepper. Like that's all you get in the first third. But then after it warms up and it smooths out and everything rounds off, starts playing, that's when you start going, oh no, actually there's a little bit of chocolate in there. And there's a little bit of fucking berry or whatever. Berry's kind of rare, except for that awesome cigar Alec rolled for the Bourbon Junkies. Had a really sweet fruit note in it. By the way, I know those are sold out, but god damn, those were good cigars. But that's when you start getting these nuanced flavors because the flavors aren't as punchy and everything's a little coming around a little more, I guess is the best way to put it.
Absolutely.
So, well, Alec, I appreciate you, brother. This was a last minute thing and I appreciate you like on a whim, just jumping on here. But for everybody that doesn't know, this is Alec Bradley or Alec Rubin from Alec Bradley Cigars. If you guys have not had Alec Bradley cigars, definitely go grab some. If you're drinking, he's just got the Kintsugi that just came out. We were talking about the fantastic cigar. It's kind of sold out right now, apparently. If you're a coffee person and you love coffee, we've all talked about it before. A Magic Toast, man. It's one of the best coffee cigars out there. It's just fan-fucking-tastic with a cup of coffee. That is a great cigar. Not to mention many other ones. I mean, you guys have a whole book of a ton of great cigars. Taylor just threw a link to alecbradley.com in the chat. So definitely go give those guys a little love. Say thank you to Alec for jumping on and dropping some knowledge on the folks.
Yeah, it's been good. It's good to hear directly from you.
Jeremy, thank you guys for having me on. And that was a lot of fun. So I'm
buddy,
going to keep watching up in the chat.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you, man. And we'll definitely have you on for a full episode soon.
Awesome. Absolutely. Great. I would love that.
All right, brother.
I'm going to go get another Tempest and smoke it at the loft to give it a fair shake.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right, brother. I appreciate you, brother.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. All right, let me now mute this so that you don't have to get the echo off of all this. That should fix that. All right. Well, hey, for an impromptu, it was a little bumpy getting it going. We had to work out the technical details, but overall, I think it was worth the trouble because
it was good to hear from him directly because it was somebody I can trust.
Well, and that's why we say we want to have some guests on the podcast because as much as I'm an expert I shouldn't say as much as I'm an expert, but as much as I'm very knowledgeable on certain topics and as much as you're very knowledgeable on certain topics, it's always good to have true experts in the field, right? Like people that do this shit all day long to drop some knowledge and give some good information to people.
Right. Just because of that, I tried not to talk too much because I knew that I was going to echo through your shit. So,
right. No, I think it might not be too bad because if everybody's talking at once and stuff, it's not too bad. And if you didn't say too much, then you only have to edit out your talking. So hopefully the edit won't be too bad.
Yeah, hopefully not. But I'm going to go grab another beer. I'll be right back.
All right, word. So, but yeah, another big thank you to Alec for dropping in, brother. I appreciate you. Again, if you guys haven't tried any of their cigars, Magic Toast, man. That's all I got to say. That cigar is so fucking good. And the Kintsugi is really good, but I guess it's really hard to get that right now. Trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head right now. I smoked so many of their cigars and, I had this problem a lot. I smoke so many cigars that people are like, oh, do this or say it. And I'm like, fuck, I can't even think of a cigar name right now because it's like overload in my brain. I have too many brands to think of. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that, yeah, you won't get the echo on YouTube. You shouldn't really. It'll just be on the audio version. Yeah, it'll be on the audio version when we edit the podcast. We'll have to edit out some echoing because of the way the soundboards work and whatnot. But
yeah, so you hit the mute button on your track on the USB track, right?
I did hit it since he got off. Yes, I remuted and I took it down to 0 volume and hit the the mute button. So it should be not bad.
No, not on the Bluetooth track, the USB track.
Oh, that's what I say the Bluetooth track because it lights up Bluetooth at the top of the thing.
No, I mean, never mind.
Yeah, both of the tracks are muted. The USB and the Bluetooth track.
Okay.
What is that other
over here?
Prince Audio? That's the other really good Alec Bradley. Speaking of the black market, it's funny. The first time I had a black market, which is one of their most popular cigars, I did not like it. And I even told Alec that. I'm like, dude, I love you. I love most of what you guys do. I'm not into the fucking black market. It's just not my jam. And then he was like, well, I get it. It's cool. Like, not everybody likes everything. He goes, that one does have some weird tobacco in it that hits people's palates weird. And I'm not always into that. Then I went and I tried some more. It had been years since I had a black market and I loved it. I called him. I'm like, Alec, I apologize. Alec, you're very welcome, brother. Thank you again for coming on. I had to apologize to Alec Bradley. I said, dude, why do I keep calling him Alec Bradley? It's Alec Rubin. Fuck. Bradley is his brother. They're called Alec Bradley because those are the two brothers, Alec and Bradley. Jesus Christ.
Okay. It's okay. I was talking about him the other day and I said Alec Ryan.
No, it's Alec Rubin, the Rubin family. Yeah. They're Rubins. Alec, and they're called Alec Bradley cigars because they're named after him, Alec, and his brother Bradley, Alec and Bradley. But I had to call and apologize. I'm like, dude, I gave the black market a hard time. I love it. And that's another good example or another good tip for newbies. If you don't like a cigar, don't write it off. Don't smoke it for a while because maybe it's not your jam right now, but your palate constantly changes and evolves as you get deeper into these things. And something you really don't like, you end up really enjoying.
And the reverse of that too. I mean, if we're touching on like other things like whiskey, I loved Lafroig. And actually I want to come back to that because a few months ago or a few weeks ago, a few episodes back, I should say, I was talking about Lafroig and how I didn't like it nearly as much as I used to. Right? I said that on stream because I bought a bottle and drank it on stream. And I'm like, it's not as good as it used to be. That's not true. What it is the Lafroig isn't as good as if I drink it with other Isla scotches. If I stick to just Lafroig, it tastes great. I love it. But when I start mixing in like the Port Charlotte and Ardbeg and switching,
it's a very different kind of scotch.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't like it anymore. But it's all about like there's definitely a perspective there that changes once you introduce other flavor palettes with that one whiskey.
For sure.
So I think it would also go to or stand to reason that if you didn't like a cigar, it may also be what you've had before you smoked it, while you smoked it. There's a lot of factors at play. And that's why I didn't want to say I didn't like that Alec Bradley Tempest, because I know that there was the fog. I was outside. It was like 30 degrees or 35 degrees or whatever. And there was a lot going on that affected that cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you myself I wanted to try another one before I even tried to decide whether I like it or not. And I tried two of those Camacho rum barrels. I had one at the cigar loft and I had one at home, and both of them were definitely a little more intense than what I was used to.
Well, and that is a very good point. Don't give a cigar one chance. Anytime you get a cigar, buy 2 or 3, right? Because you made a very good point in the fact of what you had before, what you're drinking it with, the meal you had before, what kind of fucking day you're having. Like if you got a cold, if your nose is a little stuffy, there's about 1 million things that will greatly impact the way that cigar tastes to you, and things that you don't think you like on a different day after a different meal, you might find that you fucking really love it. So definitely don't judge too harsh, too quickly. Give things a second try. Just real quick for the people, because they always like to know what we're drinking. I started with the Glenmorangie, but I'm going to try a little Easy Lover. Focus, you bitch. It's over here. Where is it? I'm not far enough over. I'm not far. There it is. Easy Lover. Come on. This is Scotch malt whiskey. I've talked about these guys on the channel. I had them in the gift guide. We won't go into it. They're great. Single barrel picks of really awesome scotches at full cast strength, unfiltered, uncut. This is an 11-year Highland ex-bourbon hogshead, then second cast in a heavy char new oak hogshead. Hogshead cask, Taylor. It's not like an actual hogshead. So
I saw something pop up on Reddit today, since we're on the topic real quick. Little aside. There are two scotches, Isla scotches, that I didn't know this, but I didn't know this before today. Lagavulin, right? Lagavulin 16, and then there's Cahuilla 12.
Cahuilla, that's a good one. I've actually got a barrel strength Cahuilla from Scotch malt whiskey back there. It's awesome.
Well, if you get the 12-year and the Lagavulin 16, they're actually peated with the same peat. They're all the materials basically that they use are the exact same, within reason, I think. What you're tasting in the differences of those scotches are the barrels.
Right. That's a huge influence.
And I want to try them now. I've not seen Cahuilla in my local ABC, so I need to try to find a bottle, but I want to try them side by side. Just Cahuilla. Somebody says it's Cahuilla. Maybe it is. I don't know what it is.
Cahuilla is how you actually. Me and Allison we actually looked up the pronunciation. It's Cahuilla is how you pronounce it.
Regardless, I want to try them side by side now. That's
for sure.
Yeah, because I know that really the main differences between those are the barrels, which is really,
I mean that's the main difference in a lot, right? Like you'll have a lot of distilleries that they're using the exact same mash bill, the exact same everything, and the only difference is how much they charred the barrel, or with scotches, if it's a new oak, second use oak, heavily charred, like there's all kinds of variables in the barrel that is what makes the whiskey what it is. The raw spirit can be the same, and you can get 30 different types of whiskey or flavors of whiskey with the exact same spirit going in and get something different out based on, age, hell, based on where it's at in the fucking warehouse. Get that shit. You can have one aging on the bottom rack and on the top rack, and it comes out totally different with the exact same spirit.
And that's why they mix.
That's why they usually mix, right? Which is what's cool about Scotch malt, because, and I've talked about this, you usually get a blended product. It's still a single malt, but it's a blended product because they blend it together for a uniform flavor. So you don't get these really interesting one-off barrels, which is what you get with Scotch malt. Like I have a single barrel strength pick of Cahuilla back there that is fucking phenomenal. I'll actually send you a sample of it when I send you the samples for the Bourbon Junkies podcast.
Yeah, when are those coming?
Actually, I need to do that like this week because we're gonna fuck up and miss it again. I need to make sure the Junkies have sent their samples out, and I'll send the samples out to you guys.
Just announcement right now: we're not doing the Bourbon Junkies podcast next week because Jeremy.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, not just Jeremy. The bourbon, we all forgot to send each other samples. Like the Bourbon Junkies haven't sent theirs. I haven't sent mine, and we can't do it without the fucking samples because that's the whole premise of the podcast. So,
do I need to bring all of my Glencairns into the office for that?
You need to have at least 4 because you're going to get 4 samples. So you're going to need 4 so you can A/B test them and all that.
I feel like they're going to shatter on the way here.
Glencairn,
they're so fragile.
Yeah, Glencairn is definitely they're stronger than you think they are, but yes, they will fucking for sure.
They're paper thin, dude. But anyway, back to cigars. I think, and Alec touched on this, and you touched on this, but the biggest thing for me that I've learned recently is I've been too cautious when lighting. I didn't want to over burn it or over char it or anything, or over toast it or anything. I wanted to try and like delicately light it because I didn't want to burn it. Right. And what was happening is it wasn't really catching up. And this is also a factor. When I'm at the cigar loft, I don't have these issues. When I smoke outside, I do. So when you're not really fully lighting it right off the rip, it's never got much of a chance because the humidity is going to affect the wrapper.
Right.
The cold's going to affect the wrapper. And what happens is every single time until this week, every cigar I've had outside at my fire pit has tunneled hardcore.
Yeah. It's probably the humidity. Humidity will cause a cigar to tunnel pretty bad if you're not careful.
Yep. So basically, I should just smoke at the loft.
Yeah, or just smoke your.
It was also like 28 degrees the other night, so
smoke your a little less expensive cigars that maybe you're not as worried about getting the perfect experience out of, right? Like
the New Worlds,
like the New World stuff like that, that you're just smoking just to have a nice little cigar. You're not worried about if it burns a little fucked up or if, things get a little weird at times. That's a good tip for newbies is, don't overanalyze it too much, man. Just have a good fucking time, right? Like if you really are sitting there worrying about shit, stressing out over it the whole time, you're not going to fucking enjoy it because you're stressed out about the goddamn thing the entire time. Just relax, smoke your cigar, and enjoy it.
Well, I think that's where when I know I'm joking and being a little hyperbolic when I say that you're too far gone, but that is something that I think that you have a smoke lounge at home, so you can just kind of smoke in that room in the perfect condition all the time,
right?
And you don't have those troubles. It is easy to just enjoy it.
Chill
because you know what you're doing, your palate's refined, you're in the perfect conditions all the time. You don't have those things to worry about. For somebody who is a beginner who just picked this up like a month ago, it's hard to enjoy it when you're trying to smoke a cigar and it keeps going out and it's bitter and the wind's blowing and you're cold and you're just like,
I mean, I
just want to enjoy this because I tried to keep myself to like one cigar a week. Just go to the loft to smoke the cigar. And then one time I went and I bought 3 cigars and took them home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up smoking one before I went back to the loft. And then the next time when I went to the loft, I got 3 more cigars. And before I went back to the loft, I smoked 2 or 3 cigars. And then I went back to the loft and I picked up like 5 cigars. And then I went home and smoked one every single day. I want to, so that's the thing. I want to enjoy it and I'm not trying to like overanalyze, but I'm having trouble because it's cold outside. I can't smoke inside and the conditions aren't right.
You're making an extremely valid point. I got to give it to you. You're wise beyond your years. But that is a very valid point, right? And I equate it to, and this is a little different, but I equate it to if you think cigars are difficult, try smoking a pipe.
Yeah.
Like that's super finicky. If you don't know what you're doing, it can be super frustrating. And, to a lesser level with cigars, but still, if you're new to it and you're not 100% sure what you're doing and you're not in good conditions and you got a heavy fog rolling in, fucking with the humidity of the cigar and all the things, I'm sure it could get super frustrating and it is kind of hard to do what I said, which is just kind of relax and enjoy it when the fucking thing's going out every 3 puffs. It's getting bitter. Right. You're fucking freezing. You can't, it's like all you taste is bitter ash and you're cold and it won't stay. I mean, yeah, that could be super frustrating.
But on the bright side, I have a cigar loft that is 2 miles from my house, which is very nice. It's a really cool place. Alec just said, I smoke in my garage. If you have that ability, you should give it a try, Taylor. I don't have that ability. I have a garage, but it's barely usable. And like I said, I'm moving into this space on January 1st, which will be nice.
He's going to equip this place like full lounge, right?
Well, not the one in January. So the January space will be a temporary location while my actual office is being built, and it's next door so that I can just kind of pop over there and document the build process. Right. So it's not going to be ready in January, but the next space that I move to, which should be, I don't want to give a firm timeline, but I would imagine like February, March, or April, somewhere in there, I will have a finished office, and that office theoretically should be also just totally equipped to be a smoke lounge.
You're going to put the ventilation to exhaust the smoke and an air cleaner to help clean up the remnants and all the things.
Yep. And I'll have the ability to open the container doors because this is going to be a container office, which I am super, super pumped about. But shipping containers, I'm going to be able to swing open the doors
on a nice night
to a deck.
Oh,
dude, it's going to be, I cannot wait to show you guys what this office is going to be.
Dude, I've seen some really cool like container buildings where they put a bunch of those together. It's been like multiple stories and shit. Like I've seen some pretty crazy people do some crazy stuff, and they drywall on the inside and stuff. So I mean, it looks dope.
So the shop is already built. The shop is already ready. As soon as I pay the deposit and sign the lease, I can use the shop. Shop's already there. Let's say this is the shop, right? In my mind, we haven't settled on the actual design, but let's say this is a 40 by 16 double container. So it's 2 shipping containers that have been conjoined lengthwise. My mind, we're going to cantilever my office off the back, right? So the office will be here, cantilevered off. It'll be another 40 by 16 space. And it'll be, you don't have to have stairs to get up to it, but it'll be cantilevered off, and this will all be decking. So the top will be a deck, and then my office will be cantilevered off. And dude, I'm so pumped. I'm so excited. You couldn't tell.
You know what I was, this is on a little bit of a separate note, but I was just thinking about, because it'd be cool to come up and do some live podcasts and stuff once you get moved in. But even beforehand, depending on when it is, I know the Cigar Lounge guy wanted you to try to podcast from the Cigar Lounge.
Yeah. So
depending on when that happens, I might try to make it up for that, man, and just drive up and do the podcast live and drive back. It could be fun.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. So it's a chill little lounge, and he wants me to come do it there, which would be really fun. And maybe if it goes well, maybe every time I'll just set up and do it there, because it's a pretty chill, quiet place. The only problem is, I tend to project when I'm talking to a mic. So
yeah. But that'd be fun once you get moved in and once some of this Corona stuff calms down to start doing some of these podcasts live and in person occasionally and doing some in-person stuff. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
But where were we at with the you had said that it could be difficult because newbies, smoke, fog, inclement weather, all the things. I'm trying to think of any other points that
well, what I was saying is lighting. I was being too delicate and not fully lighting. And Alec, I think what he suggested went against this, saying that if a cigar is rolled properly, it should even out on its own.
Right.
On. I've been podcasting with too long. I can't talk anymore.
You're drunk, Taylor. That's what they say every time you start us up. Taylor's drunk.
I know, dude. They thought okay, so there's a reason I'm drinking beer tonight. I got toasted on Friday. I said I wasn't, but when we got off and I stood up, I'm like, I'm gonna lay down on the couch for a little bit. I had 5 glasses of whiskey during the stream. So yeah. Anyway,
it definitely depends on the whiskey, but that could put you in a hurt locker real quick if they're stronger whiskeys.
Yeah. But the problem is that not every cigar is rolled perfectly, humidity, all these other problems. I wasn't lighting properly to begin with. And what I mean by that is I wasn't evenly lighting the entire, I guess that's the foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Head, foot.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I wasn't fully lighting the foot. I wasn't fully lighting it. And with the humidity and everything else that's affecting the wrapper more than it's affecting the inner leaves.
Mm-hmm. Leaves. If you're smoking a long filler cigar, it's big old whole leaves.
So the problem was that, right off the rip, I'd light it and a minute or two later, it's out. Because I was being very delicate. So I looked up how to light a cigar just to make sure I'm doing it right, and started toasting and fully lighting that thing without trying to overdo it. But that was the problem. I was trying to not overdo it, and I wasn't getting an even light, and it was going out quickly. What I've started doing is just touching up. So I have to smoke outside. I don't have really any other options right now. Mm-hmm. So every so often, not every drag, but every so often, I'll just touch up the edge. I'll take my lighter, this torch right here, which that's another tip. Get a really good torch. This torch has been great. But just kind of quickly just touch it all the way around, and that seems to catch everything up. And it's been great ever since. So I'm not trying to overdo anything, just kind of touching up really quickly. In fact, when I do touch-ups, I use my Zippo. Just roll it really quickly over the Zippo. Tends to catch the wrapper up really quickly. That's it.
No, touch-ups are key, man, because if everything's going right and your cigar's rolled well and it's then you shouldn't, technically the perfect smoking experience, you shouldn't have to touch up, right? If you've got a perfectly rolled cigar, there's no inconsistencies or weirdness, and you're in a good environment, that thing should burn good all the way down.
Right. And I've never had trouble when I go to the loft. I light up and it just easy smoke all the way through. I go home and it's like reverse. Yeah.
But if you do have burn issues, it's a good tip. Don't let it get too fucked up, because as that burn gets sideways, it's not smoking the way that it should, and the flavors can get off. You're better off just to give it a quick little to even that thing up.
You just have to touch it. Just
touch it around. And Zippo's like the leaf and barrel Zippo on jeremysires.com.
I wouldn't know.
I'll send you one. That's one thing I do really like about jets. I actually kind of prefer, in a way, to light a cigar with a soft flame. Sometimes if you're indoors, soft flames can be hard outdoors because they're so wind affected, but there is something nice about lighting a cigar with a soft flame if you're indoors. But for touch-ups, the jet is crucial, man, because you can just whoop and then evens it right up.
Can I recommend one of these? This is an honest torch, basically a table torch. You're not going to take this with you everywhere, but let's just crank this thing up for a second. Look at this thing.
See a torch, you need to see the Alec Bradley like table fucking torches those guys sell. Have I ever showed you that thing?
No.
It's a straight Bunsen burner. You could cook meth on that sumbitch.
Dude, this thing turns red.
Yeah. They have a little filament in there that makes it do red like that. It's like a little piece of metal that makes it go red.
Yeah. This is a 4-burner, dude. This thing is...
The only thing about those 4 burners is you do have to be really careful when you touch them up, because that's a lot of fire. I know a lot of people
have to be careful. When I first used one of these, and it was like the 3rd cigar I ever smoked, I had this thing pointed straight at my face, and I'm doing this, and I just felt the heat just like wash over my face.
Oh, dude, Bloom shot in the house again tonight. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
He asked if that was a Tudor Black Bay on your wrist.
Yes, it is, my friend. Just picked it up the other day. Really pretty pumped about it.
And he said he was giving me his Oris. What a guy.
I definitely did not say
I
that.
heard it. Chat, tell him
oh, look, imagine that. You cut out.
I'm crazy. I heard him sending me his Oris.
It's funny. You froze right when you were saying that. I'm like, oh, look, he froze at the perfect time, right when he's trying to say.
Damn it.
That's hilarious. But anyway, what I was saying is these Zippos are good for touch-ups because it's a 2-jet, so there's not too many jets, and you could turn it sideways and get real precise with where you're touching up.
What a peasant I am. I only have a single jet.
Those are good for touch-ups too, man. Single jets are great because you can get real precise and not like fucking incinerate the whole end of your...
I'm just giving you shit again.
I know. I'm going to send you one. Thanks, buddy. He said Black Bay's looking fire. Thank you, my brother. It's a red bezel, so it is kind of fire. Now, I know Taylor's not a huge fan of the red bezel. It's not his favorite version, but I don't know, man. Sure. Like I said, the first time I saw that red bezel Black Bay, something about it, I was just like,
I got my wannabe Black Bay on the old Laurier.
That's a good looking watch, though, dude. There's nothing wrong with that watch at all.
I wear this watch a lot. I like this watch. I like the taper. How's the taper on that?
It's got a little bit of a taper on the band. Oh,
so we talked. Eric and I talked after the Friday night hangout, whatever. We talked for a little bit, and he's got a new blue watch. I won't say what it is, but he got a new blue watch, and I'm like, I don't like blue either. I don't like red or blue. I like green. Okay, look,
dude, how can you not like a Hulk?
It's green, isn't it? I like green.
But do you like a Hulk? The Rolex Hulk?
I'd wear it. I'd wear it for a blue or red bezel. Probably Kermit.
It's funny.
When it's not like full dedication to a color. It's, you still got a black top.
It's funny because, we talked about my love for wanting a Rolex eventually. And when I was in the AD getting the Tudor, I asked her, I said, so like, what's the skinny on getting on the list so that I know it's going to be a long time before I can get one. It's going to be a long time before I can afford one. So I should probably go ahead and get on the list so that I can start the wait. And she said, well, which one do you want? I said, well, I just kind of want like a normal Submariner, or I'd really like one of the Kermits potentially. She's like, well, we can probably do a Submariner at some point. Now that you've bought a watch and you're in the system and stuff, we can probably work that out. She goes, Kermit's probably not going to happen. She's like, that's just not going to happen. What the hell just, Taylor's got to piss. Be right back. So it's just funny that the way the ADs work and the getting some of those watches is damn near impossible. But yeah, I think Taylor told me, Loomshot, about the watch that you got, if I'm not mistaken, and I won't mention it on the live stream because I'm not going to put your business out in the street, but congratulations on that, brother. That is a piece, if I'm remembering correctly what he told me. That thing is boss. What is a Kermit? Somebody asked. A Kermit is a Rolex Submariner. They get nicknames, right? So the All Black Submariner, I don't think has a nickname. It's just like the All Black Submariner. But a Submariner that has a green ceramic bezel with a black face, they call Kermit. They had a model back years ago that was a green face with a green bezel, and they called that the Hulk. And now the green and black they call Kermit. So that is what a Kermit is. It's a Rolex Submariner with a green ceramic bezel and a black face. I love it. I want one so bad, but god damn, they're expensive. They are so expensive. Rolexes are not cheap. And some people don't agree with Rolex. Some people think that it's too bougie and it's too flashy and it's too flexy and all those things. And I totally understand that premise, but you know, I think they're awesome. And I look at it like a investment because dude, you always gain money on those type of watches. You never lose money on a Rolex, which is a good thing. Let's see what else is my video is going live. Oh, cool. He's got a video going. Loomshot says his video is going live tomorrow. Yeah, dude, that thing's boss, brother. Boss. Copper man card. I'm just going to read some comments, by the way, while Taylor's gone. See, Christopher Smith photography says when a copper man card. I think Friday. I think we're going to put him live Friday. I've just got to get a couple shots for the website to update the website with and stuff, which I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get done tomorrow. And then we're hoping tentatively we're dropping them Friday. And just so you guys can see him real quick, see what he's talking about. That is the fuck this damn camera. I never can get there. It is. That is the copper version of the man card. We're doing just a small drop of these things. And then this is the same exact material that I did a little forced patina on. I normally, and I talked about this in the gift guide, I normally like my stuff to patina naturally, but because I had a couple, I just wanted to throw some patina on it just to see what it could do. So I did this little concoction that I normally patina with, and it got this cool green, but that's the exact same material. Just this one's been patinaed. This one's fresh. Taylor said I should pre-patina some of these and put them up on the website and call them the Man Card of Liberty because they're all green. And I was like, dude, that's actually a pretty good idea. Real quick, let me get this question before we go back. King Thor says, what ozonator should I get? I think I've linked it on some of my videos. I don't remember the exact name of it. It was one I got on Amazon. And for any of you guys, I mean, this works into our conversation pretty well. If you are smoking in your house and you want to get rid of the smoke smell, an ozonator is excellent, man. It does a fantastic job at just getting rid of all smoke smell. I don't know the one that I actually have. I got it on Amazon. It was like $79. I actually told Taylor about it last time we were talking because when he gets his new spot, it'll be good to get the smell out. I'll try to link it in one of my videos so that you guys can find it. It's on Amazon. Just do a search on Amazon for ozonator and look for ones that are about, I think it was like the Amazon Choice one. It was like $79 bucks-ish. It's got a little timer on it. Note, guys who do not familiar with ozonators, you cannot be in the room when they're running, nor can you be in the room for like 2 hours after they've run. It's very unhealthy to breathe that stuff in. So what you want to do is after you're done, you let them run and you get out of the room, close the door, and don't go in that room for a couple hours. But after that thing's had time to run and it's had a couple hours to air, you go back in there, man. Zero smell, zero. So those things are fucking great.
Can I just say that drinking whiskey is far better for a podcast because there's a lot of liquid.
Yeah, dude. You
I was doing the pee-pee dance before I jumped.
You can't.
Dude, I had to run to the bathroom, which, mind you, is not nearby. It's like, I don't know, if I were to guess 200, 300 feet from where I am. It's probably it's about 300 feet.
So you got to sprint to go take a piss, so you're not gone for 20 minutes. You're out of breath. You're coming back. You're like,
Yeah, I sat down and I'm like, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't unmute yet.
Let's see. What did Loomshot say here? Just make sure you know it. Just make sure you know it. The key is sounds up.
Yeah, he's talking about, okay, if you're going to read something, read it out loud like we said.
Okay, sorry, Loomshot. We're talking about the Rolex while you're gone, and Loomshot. I can barely read it because it's so far away. Just make sure you get to know a sales rep. The key is the sales rep knowing you and what you want without you having to remind them every single time. Yeah, apparently that's what she said. That's why she said to Kermit was like not going to happen right away. You've kind of got to develop a relationship and a rapport and show them and Rolex, I suppose, that you're a serious buyer and you have a collection going and you're not just going to flip it for a profit. And then they start opening up the realm of possibilities to you a little bit. So it's funny though. It's like a club that you got to spend a little money to get in, right? You can't just go in and ask for a root beer GMT right off the rip. They're like, that's funny. Yeah. I just want a couple things, root beer GMT, maybe a Batman. They're like, get the fuck out of here. Just get out of here. You're not getting either one of those.
Bro, you answered Thor's question a minute ago. He just said, sorry, the scotch didn't arrive yet. Friday, he offered to send me a scotch in exchange for one of my spare Hanks that I had. So I took him up on it, and it's not delivered yet, but there is a bottle of scotch on its way to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Right, but Thor is getting his Hank.
I mean, dude, that's a good deal, right? He gets a cool Hank, you get a bottle of scotch. That's a fucking win-win all the way around.
I'm down. Unless it's like actually I can't think of a scotch that wouldn't be good for that. So
I don't know how to say his name. Tuzu?
Tuzu, yeah.
I guess that's how you pronounce that. He said sounds like a strip club. Not that I know.
What sounds like a strip club? Oh, you can't get without spending money? Yeah.
You got to spend a little money to open up the door for different types of activities.
Thor says, surprise, it's good.
Oh, shit. I wonder what he said. Oh, man, you'll have to open that on the podcast.
Well, I will say, and I don't know if he wants me to say this or not, but I'm going to anyway. He asked how he could send you something, and I told him that there is an address on the about page of your YouTube channel.
There is. I do. It's not a PO box. It's actually a post box at a UPS because PO boxes are weird with what they'll accept. So I actually got a box at a UPS store, so it's a physical address. But I can't obviously put my home address out on the interwebs with all.
Don't worry, I already did.
With all the crazies. I got little cheering up in here, man. I got to keep the cheering safe. But yeah, that's awesome, dude, that he's sending you some stuff.
Get mad at Jeremy for not getting the Sabenza.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. The Tudor was far more than a Sabenza. I probably could have bought several Sabenzas for the price of a Tudor, but I've been wanting a Tudor for a long time, and yeah, I mean, when it boils down.
Wait. You said just a few months ago, I'm not getting into watches, but you also said like
that wasn't a few months ago. That was like 6 or 8 months ago. Now that was
okay, but still, much earlier than that, you said you wanted a Sabenza.
It's true. Oh, Ken Martin. I have not gotten it yet. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail it, but I just wanted to answer him because he did send me a bottle. He's a very nice gentleman. He won the giveaway we did on Pete's Glass. Or no, was it the glass?
Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah, I think it was, and he said if he won that he would send me a bottle of the Elijah Craig Toasted, and he came through and sent it. I did get a notification from my box that I had mail there, so I bet it's at the PO box. I'm not able to pick it up yet.
Josh Harris says, why not the Omega 007? Because that's about 4 times as much.
Yeah, I was about to say mainly because I could have bought 3 Tudors for the price of that Omega 007.
That Omega's probably what, 14, 15 grand?
I think at least, I don't think they had one of those at the AD I was at. They had a bunch of stuff there, really nice stuff. I don't remember seeing the 007. No, I don't.
Although that mesh band looks nice.
See, what Loomshot say? Go ahead and highlight that. Go ahead and highlight that shit.
Loomshot, you're a watch guy. You're biased. I'm a watch and knife guy.
We got to read it for the people on the podcast. Loomshot says highly.
Loomshot said nothing.
He said highly approved.
Boomshot said nothing.
He's over the Sabenza. He agrees. Yeah, dude, that 007 is super dope. I love that watch. See, Loomshot says he's very much so into custom knives also. I feel like it's a similar crowd, right? The guys that are into custom watches and watches are usually into
what knives. I'm saying is you could have bought several Sabenzas several times over.
Sure. Yes.
It's comparatively not a big expense.
By the way, I did not mention this when AB was on here, but another reason why AB is our boy, he not only loves cigars, well, not love cigars, that's what he does for a living. He is a huge whiskey connoisseur and he's a watch guy. And guess what he likes? You'll probably appreciate this, Taylor. He's a big vintage watch guy.
Why am I going to appreciate that?
I thought you liked vintage watches, the smaller vintage looking watches.
Not particularly. I mean, I do have some Lauriers, which are vintage inspired, smaller divers and chronographs, but I don't really care about the vintage vibe as much as I do. I don't know.
Just the kind of general.
I definitely don't like. I don't care about actual vintage watches, which sounds. Sorry, Alec, but anybody who likes vintage watches, a lot of the actual vintage watches are way too small for me. Way too small.
Yeah. Well, Taylor's got a sausage arm. Well, actually, like you know the big thing of bologna you get at the grocery store.
Hold your arm up, Jeremy. And I know we're at different focal lengths and different distances from the camera, but I mean, like, my wrist is very tall.
Yeah, it's very. See, mine. I have like a 7 1/4 to 7.5 inch wrist, which is pretty average.
I'm pretty much 8.
I can usually pull off a bigger watch than some with my wrist size because my wrist is flat and wide, right? So it'll support a slightly larger watch face because of the width of the wrist. And that's something I don't think a lot of people consider when they're looking at watches and their wrist size is if you've got a big old just sausage round wrist that comes out to 7 inches or 7.5, but it's real tall, a bigger watch face can still look huge on your wrist because you don't have the width to support it. I think we've talked about that on the podcast before.
Here's a really good question from Christopher Smith. What is a great watch brand to look for or look at for the common blue collar man tired of Apple Watch and want to go back to a traditional watch? It all depends on your budget.
First off, before you get into that, can I say a big thank you for going traditional watch and getting away from an Apple Watch?
Yes.
You're already making a huge step in the right direction, my man.
Yes.
But anyway,
absolutely. But the spectrum is so broad when it comes to watches. I mean, there are great options under $100. There are great options from $100 to $300 or $400, and there are great options from $500 to $1,000. Great options from $1,000 and well beyond. So it really comes down to how much you're willing to spend. Blue collar could be really anywhere from, under 100 to 500, or maybe beyond if you're willing to save a little bit for it. So it's really tough to nail something down. Seiko covers most of that spectrum because they've got watches as cheap as 80. Yeah.
I didn't want to interrupt you because you were flowing, but I said it in my gift guide. I think that new Seiko 5 Sports is such a great watch for that category because it kind of replaces the SKX 007, which is everybody's darling for a long time, right? It's in that affordable range though, to where you don't have to worry about it so much, right? It's if you bang it up a little bit, it's an everyday watch. It's a great watch, but it looks great. And that's why I don't understand why people kind of hated on it a little bit because it wasn't the SKX 007. I think it's a better watch.
I just don't like the 5, the logo, the physical, the actual logo.
Better.
Everything else is great.
It's not a screw down crown, which is what everybody points to. But we've talked about this. For most people, that is zero factor, right? If you're for swimming in a pool, splashing, whatever, Long Island watch is a good point. It's got 100-meter water resistance. Who the fuck needs more than 100 meters of water resistance?
Well, unless you're diving water resistance. 100 meters is 100 meters with a giant asterisk, which
it's 10
really
bar,
means
right? it's got to be 10 bars of pressure before it'll start leaking into the case. Most people are not going past 10 bars in normal use.
You just read up on watch water resistance ratings, and it's not exactly 100 meters or 10 bar.
No, it's not. But the point is that watch, I could go into a 6 to 10 foot swimming pool depth, which is as deep as I would ever be, swim to the bottom of that motherfucker with that watch on, and it would not leak.
Right. Most people aren't diving with their watches. They're washing their hands, splashing around a little kiddie pool, and splish splashing in the ocean. Right. So most people don't really need anything beyond that.
And here's the thing. Most people that actually dive that I've heard, they're like, we don't fucking use those for diving. Right. They're like, we don't use dive watches for diving anyway.
Yeah,
we use computers. Right. So like
it's really just the
screw down crown dumb. Is a moot point is my point. And it has a better movement than the 007. It's got applied indices, which the 007 didn't. It had printed or painted or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's got a display case back, which I think is dope. So, I mean, tell me how it's not better than the SKX 007.
I can't, because I don't like either of them. Just kidding. Who was it? Where is it? Trevor said, Taylor, you're failing hardcore keeping Jeremy on the topic of the night. I'm not. We stayed on topic for like an hour and a half, and that's a record.
We always veer off at this point.
Yeah, that's a record for Jeremy. We're really just kind of fielding questions now, probably about to wrap it up.
David Robertson said, you're wrong. SKX 009. What do you mean?
There's another version. There's a 009.
What, that's the replacement for the 007?
Well, the one you're talking about, the Seiko 5 is sort of, it's not really the replacement, but
right.
It's a shoe-in, right? It basically is. It might as well be.
I mean, it looks most like the 007 than any other watch, right? I don't know what the 009 looks like. What does the SKX 009 even look like? I'm not even sure what that watch looks like.
I would try to pull it up, but I don't want to bork my internet.
Yeah, please don't fuck anything up. 009, 007, same blue and red. Oh, okay.
Jim Alaska knows us all too well. About to wrap it up equals another hour of chit chat. Hell yeah.
Jim Alaska, if that's his real name, can I just say that's a cool name? I mean, that Alaska seems like a real name.
No, Alaska would be a badass last name, though.
Right. Like, that doesn't sound like a screen name. That probably sounds like a real name, and that's a boss name, Jim Alaska. I don't know why that sounds boss, but to me, that just sounds like a cool name.
Going back to the blue collar watches, so Seiko is a really good. This was like 10 minutes ago now, but Seiko is a really good, easy option. But there's also Orient. Orient makes a lot of different watches. They have in-house movements, and they're affordable. $100, $120, $150. The Mako, the Ray. There's a lot of Orient models that are really good. Casio, actually, if you're wanting to really get the best bang for your buck, my favorite watch for a budget watch is the Casio Duro. It's a dive watch. It's quartz, so it's not automatic. It's $50. It's got a screw down crown. Really nice action on the bezel. It does not have a sapphire crystal, but you can do a sapphire upgrade if you want for about $20, $30. It's just a killer watch for the price, and it looks really, really great. It's $45. It's $45. It's stupid good for $45.
You know, another really good budget beginner watch is an AP Royal Oak.
Oh yeah. 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 Just, when you're feeling like maybe spending 30 G's on a watch or 40 G's on a watch, good budget watch.
or maybe a nice little Patek Philippe, something like that.
Dude, fuck all that. Just get a Jacob & Co.
Yeah, the Jacob, dude, those look like fish bowls on your arm. Those are the weirdest fucking watches. I mean, most of the super expensive watches I get, right? Like, there's a part of me that wants to get, I'll never have one because I'll never have this kind of cheese, but part of me wants a rainbow Daytona just because it's kind of like the ultimate fuck you watch. Like, it's just like,
no, it's not. It's not. The Jacob & Co. is. Well, all right. I'm gonna risk my internet for the Jacob & Co.
But here's the thing: I actually like the way the Rainbow Daytona looks. The Jacob & Co. looks like a weird fish bowl. Like, it's a completely sapphire case. The whole thing sapphire. It's all clear. and it's got all this weird shit in it, and it looks like a fucking fish. And it's like, how many millimeters thick is it? It's like 20 millimeters thick or some crazy shit.
18, 20. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's just a crazy looking watch. Yeah, John Mayer's got somebody said Josh Harris says John Mayer collection rainbow. Yeah, dude, I think he's got like 2 or 3 rainbow Daytonas. Crazy. I mean, John Mayer is a
stupid money too. So,
well, no, John Mayer. And have you ever watched his what is that show? Hodinkee? Is that how you say it? Is it Hodinkee? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
He had a John Mayer thing, and it was funny. John Mayer had all his watches laid out, and he's like, "These are all the drugs I never did," because he said coming up in the rock industry, like when all the other people were spending all this money on drugs and doing all this thing, he never did that. He bought watches, which I respect him for. It's a much better investment than drugs. Oh, Chad from Big Eye in the house. What up? Chad says his favorite watch is a Casio I can barely see that, CMD 40 TV watch. Kids use school. I can't fucking read that far, Chad. I'm sorry. My contacts are acting weird and I can't see. We'll get back to your comment in a second, buddy. Yeah, that's that watch.
This is a Jacob & Co. Astronomia. This is the roulette version because you see the roulette board underneath, but they do crazy different versions of,
Look how
the
thick
Astronomia. This thing's
here's
so thick.
I will respect it for the intricacy. She's a thick girl, for the intricacy of it and the complication of building that. I will respect it, but I think that shit's ugly. I think that's dumb. Like, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I wouldn't want that big ass thing on my wrist. Yeah. Like,
oh
it looks
God, these things are crazy. They have a solid sapphire.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
They have a solid sapphire one. Look, it's pure sapphire. Like, the whole thing is mounted in sapphire.
See, I mean, I respect the ingenuity that goes into that, but like at the same time, like, it's just fucking weird.
Dude,
I wouldn't want to wear that.
Crazy. And it's like $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just stupid expensive. Like,
I don't
your
get
spring bars. Your spring bars are mounting into straight sapphire.
Yeah. I mean, it's next level, dude, for sure. But I just don't test your internet too far, bro. We don't want to fuck it up. But I don't get it. What did Chad say down here? What was his comment about? Highlight that. I can't read that far with my contacts acting the way they are. He said his favorite watch.
Just going. There's a Casio CMD 40 TV watch kids used in the school to mess with teachers in the class TV back in the day.
I remember back
in the day. That's not back in the day. Jeremy's back in the day. They had blackboards, not even whiteboards. They had blackboards with chalk.
Oh, for sure. When I was in school, we had blackboards. When you got in trouble, you had to like clean the fucking blackboard things. They make you go out and smack the erasers. That was like punishment. You'd have to smack the erasers and wipe down the blackboards at the end of the day if you got in trouble. You didn't have blackboards in school when you went to school?
We had whiteboards.
Really? They didn't have
civilized people. We were a civilized human race. Yeah.
I can't believe they didn't have blackboards when you were in school, dude. That's fucking crushing, bro.
Yeah.
That was an experience.
We also had cars and planes when I was in school. You had railroads.
We had cars and planes. This contact seriously is fucking up my world right now. No, I remember the watch that all the kids tried to get back when I was in school. I forgot what Casio it was, but it was the one with the like little calculator on it.
Yeah.
And you'd get it because you try to cheat on your math test, and the teachers would like take it because they're like, you can't have that because you could cheat. I don't know if that's the same one Chad's talking about. I don't remember a TV watch from Casio CMD 40. I don't remember that one.
Should I look it up and push my internet?
God, don't push your internet too far. I mean, if you don't think it'll break, then go ahead. But one wrong move, man, and your fucking internet could go sideways real quick.
All right, let's see.
See, Chad said totally had blackboards and loved being picked to dust the eraser. See what I'm saying?
Jeremy's back in the day, he had to dodge T-Rexes.
And see, Loomshot said that he
far more relevant
also. And I don't think Loomshot's a terribly old guy, is he? How old is Loomshot? Loomshot, you're not that old, are you? You're not my age, are you?
Old motherfuckers.
I don't think Loomshot is.
What the hell is this?
He's my age.
Dude, this has like a TV changer on it. What the actual fuck?
It's awesome, dude. What are you talking
No
about?
way.
I thought I said,
of course you'd think that.
I thought I saw AB say something about the Rainbow Daytona, but I can't find that comment anymore. Oh, wow. No, I don't remember that one. That's similar to the one that I'm talking about, but it didn't have all that big side stuff on it. It had like a little infrared TV changer, so you could like change the TV in the class, I guess. Oh, that would be hilarious, dude. You're like watching a show, you're watching a program on the show, and you're like changing the fucking channel. The teacher doesn't understand what the hell's going on. That's so great.
Dude, when smartphones had IR sensors in them, that not many had IR sensors, but like some of the old smartphones had them, but there were maybe some Samsung or LG models. I can't remember what it was, but I had, when I was reviewing phones, I had one with an IR sensor in it. And my dad owns a bowling center, and I was there for close, and there was a guy who had to take a remote and turn off all the TVs in the whole place. So I pulled out my phone. I waited for him to get like halfway down the lanes, turning off the TVs, and I just started turning them on one by one. And the thing was, I was like 40 feet away, and when I'd hit the button, it'd turn on like 8 of them. So he got halfway down, and he looked back, and they're all on. He's like, "What the hell?" And he starts over, and I turn off all the ones on the other end. And he gets over there, and they're off, and he's like, "Okay." And I turn on I just messed with him for like 20 minutes. He had no clue what was going on.
He thinks there's a fucking poltergeist. He's like, what in the actual fuck is going on?
The best thing I ever did with that phone, though, I was walking through Noto, which is like a little like hipster bar area in Charlotte. And there's a lot of apartments and lofts and stuff. And I'm walking down the street. I'm pretty drunk, not gonna lie. And I see somebody in their apartment, and they have their window open. They're watching TV laying in bed, or maybe it's in their living room. I don't know. But I saw a TV on in an apartment, and I pull my phone out and I just turn their TV off. And you see them like look around, and they turn it back on, and I turn it back off. And I did that for like 5 or 10 minutes. They had no clue what was going on. They never figured it out.
So you just
and I did the same thing too. Basically. Oh man, yeah, dude. I did the same thing. There was a bar I walked by, and people were watching a sport, whatever game it was on the TV. Turn the TV off right in the middle of the game. They lose their shit and go yell at the guy at the bar. He turns the TV back on. I turn it right back off. Dude, I used to fuck with people so much when that was the thing.
Right before the winning field goal is being kicked in overtime, and you're like, dunk, and they're like, holy shit, what the fuck?
I had way too much fun with that. I turned off the big monitors. I was at the mall one time. They had a huge TV for like just ads, and I just turned it off.
That's great.
I mess with shit all the time when I had that. So fun because it's like harmless humor, right? Nobody's being really totally affected by it. I mean, technically, if I'm turning off a big billboard, somebody's losing out on potential marketing. But you know what? Fuck you guys.
Well, not to mention they'll turn it back on, and like, how much did they really miss, right? You know what I mean?
So iMacDeath said, but Taylor had to figure out the IR codes for each TV first. Not true. It had a scanner, and you could just kind of scan through and turn off all sorts of different, like the power on and off is a different code for every TV, but you could just go through major TV brands. So most of them have the same on off codes for whatever TV they have. So different functions have different codes, but the on off had the same code. So you could drop that down and select like LG and just boop. And it took like 3 or 4 guesses to get it right.
You know, somebody said, and I think this is funny because I'll be curious to see if Taylor even knows what the fuck this is. Somebody was saying nothing beats the old tube TVs. Do you remember the sound old tube TVs used to make when you turned them on and off? That you could hear the tube actually engaging and disengaging, or I don't know, engaging is the right word. But
CRT.
Do you even remember that?
Dude,
did you even have that when you were?
Yeah, I had a box TV. Like I had one of those wooden box TVs growing up.
Yeah, dude, the console TVs that, like, you know, everybody had that was wooden in their kitchen. It looked like a cabinet with a fucking tube TV.
It had to fucking turn the switch.
Yeah, thunk, thunk, thunk. And it had like 4 channels.
Dude, when I was growing up, my grandpa was like super into bootleg radios, and he had his own satellite dish in his backyard, not for satellite or cable. This was before that. He had a huge, it was like a 10-foot satellite dish so that he could turn it. he could turn it to South Carolina and get or actually Virginia, because we're closer to Virginia. He would turn it to north to Virginia to get the fucking lottery numbers and then turn it back so he could watch TV after.
Dude, that's hilarious.
The lottery was illegal in North Carolina, so he'd turn the satellite, get the numbers, and then turn it back. And it was hooked up to a big turner, like a huge box with a knob on it inside the house. So you'd turn it, and you would hear it go zzz, 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 and if you look out the window, the satellite's just going zzz, zzz, zzz.
Dude, it's so funny how far things have come.
I know.
So quickly. It's dude, I just saw Alec AB or wait. Oh no, he's saying to Alec. Okay. I thought Alec was saying that he was in Daytona. This contact is like totally fucked up and I can barely see what the comments say at all. But I thought Alec was saying he was in Daytona. And I'm like, I didn't think Alec Bradley was in Daytona. That's really close. If he's that fucking close, I will come see him tomorrow. I'm like 45 minutes from Daytona. I'm crazy close.
Colin G has a very, very good question. How do we get our local LCA lists? Is that Local Cigar Association? Is that what that stands for?
No, Limited Cigar Association.
I don't know.
I know.
I guess it was pretty close.
I wish they had like an actual database that you could just go and query on like their website or something, but they don't, unfortunately. So the best way to get it is to email Clark@PrivadaCigarClub.com. Clark@PrivadaCigarClub.com.
Everybody watching right now, email him and say Whiskey Knife Fight is the fucking best.
Don't, because Clark's email. Don't do that. But if you do want to know where your local LCA is, he did tell me to tell people just to email Clark@PrivadaCigarClub.com and he will look it up for you and tell you where it is, what stores in your area are in the LCA.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be some sort of like.
Yeah, like I wish there was like a search, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, Privada could even house it on their website because LCA is a subsidiary of Privada. And just, you know, like a little search database that you could put in your zip code and it would just, you know, just
Rolodex.
Right. But I don't know if they don't have the capacity to do that at this point or whatever, but yeah, it would make it much easier. But yeah, for now
I had a lot of people asking because I showed up in the Discord with a DB2, a couple DB2s and a couple Cookie Monsters. Yep. And they're like,
what the fuck?
Where the hell do I get mine? And I'm like, sucks for you. There's one 2 miles from my house.
Clark@PrivadaCigarClub.com. That's where you get them. and he'll tell you the thing with those is depending on your area, it could be really hard to get them. Right. So like you're pretty lucky in the fact that it seems like he is able to keep those in stock for a couple weeks at least or more. Some of those LCAs that are in more popular, like more, you know, kind of areas where there's a lot of cigar smokers, they sold out within 48 hours. So like if you didn't get there when they launch them, your odds are you ain't getting one. So,
so people have been asking me if I would buy them and ship them to them. And I'm like, I'm not giving you access to my honey hole.
Well, not just that, but God, man. I mean, you want to help people out, but at the same time, you start doing that and you'll look up and you'll be fucking you'll have a part-time job mailing cigars to people.
Right. That's not what I want. I want to enjoy this. This is my this is my only non-work hobby.
Yeah. Cause you don't do any kind well, I mean, we do on the podcast now. So that's taking adding a little bit of work to it. But for the most part, unlike me who does cigar reviews and stuff, you don't have to turn it into
I view this podcast as more of just it's more fun than anything. There's a work aspect to it. Like I would have preferred to stay home and hang out with Eleanor tonight, but
you get to come on here and hang out with 200 or more of your good buddies.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. I'm sitting there rolling my eyes. I'm like Jeremy Sires.
Yeah, me and 200 or more of our friends that join in. And, visit, get cool people like AB dropping in and doing little quick flybys. We definitely, and we talked about this in the past, we're definitely going to do more guests like that in the future.
Yeah, I think that's the plan starting next year. Like I think we'll have the Bourbon Junkies on this year, but starting in the new year, we're really going to ramp up having guests on. And there are a lot of people in line to be guests on the show. I'm sure we'll get Zach on from Blade HQ.
Tad from Big Idea said he would be on. Michael Bluth from DASA Fenimir, or sorry, Open Seas now said he would
Timber. I can probably get Metal Complex on. Like there's a lot of people.
Loom Shot said he would come on, talk watches.
Accessorize Me, Vince.
Accessorize Me. AB obviously said he would come on. Pete was kind enough to say that he would be happy to come on and join. So, I mean,
you need to get Brian. You think you can get Brian on?
Oh yeah, we can get Brian on. He said he would come on. So yeah, so we'll have people from whiskey type stuff, cigar stuff, watches, knives. I mean, all the shit we talk about on here. We've got friends in all those categories. So we'll definitely start having some of those people on and keeping it dynamic and fun.
What did Jeremy do at the railroad? He was in the cut when they were digging the trenches by hand.
That's what that
laying that rail.
That is sometimes. That's actually a railroad spike. Actually, I got this railroad spike not as much for me as for my dad. My dad also worked for the railroad for 41 years, and his uncle worked for the railroad for 30 or 40 years. So there's a little bit of family lineage there of people working at the railroad. I worked at the railroad for 15 years. So that's a railroad spike tattoo is what that is. I just worked at headquarters. I didn't do anything fun out in the field. I did office type stuff. I worked in several different areas in the headquarters.
He was in the cut.
What?
You don't know what that means because you haven't watched Hell on Wheels.
Oh, in the cut. My dad started out, he ended up at headquarters. He started out as a carman. He was a certified what the hell do they call welders that are a master welder? He worked on the cars and then, worked through and ended up being at the headquarters office. Jeremy worked at Colin. What is that? I don't know what that is.
He worked for Colin Bohannon. Is
that the guy from Hell on Wheels? It's been so long since I've seen that. I don't even remember any of it. I watched that show probably fucking 10 years ago.
Dude, I'm so pissed that it's going away on December 30th. I've got to binge the rest of it. Darren K says, are you going to put the Friday Night Hangouts on podcast platforms? No, because they're more of just hanging out in real time, answering questions. And the audio quality isn't nearly as good because we don't record audio. It's more of just chill, no work. I don't have to edit after, just hang out live. Catch it live or don't catch it.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point of those things, is just to kind of, man, this fucking contact, dude. I don't know if you ever wear contacts.
I got that 2015 vision, my guy.
Sometimes, man, they get sideways and then it goes out of focus and you can't see a fucking thing. Jeremy was working the live long day. I've been working on the rail.
I have to say, iMac Death is one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite people. He's a Discord mod, but he sides with me on Jeremy issues, and there are not many people who do that. So
I think there's a pretty good split. I mean, even with cigars, which is really my wheelhouse of the things that we split down the middle. There was a lot of people siding with you on the Camacho, saying they thought that was a peppery cigar, and I never really thought of it as a peppery cigar. So you get your fair share of the Mandalorian, though. People generally do side with me. Hence the fuck, man, I wish I could see better.
The block linger.
Mandalorian was the bomb. I think it's safe to say now. It's been like a week. If you haven't seen it, I'll throw it out there and say spoiler warning. So quick sign off. But if you haven't seen it, it's been a week. So how long do you have to wait for spoiler warnings? It's all over the fucking internet. But Boba Fett came back last week and kicked ass. Motherfucker was wrecking shop. Well, he actually came back in an earlier episode. You saw that he was still alive. But last week he was actually like a full on whooping ass.
Is that
taking names?
Is that some Yu-Gi-Oh shit? Because I don't know what that is.
Dude, I can't believe you don't like The Mandalorian. This is the way. That's right, Zachary. You tell him, brother.
It just doesn't do it for me. I mean, it's fine.
Good. It's so good. The Mandalorian is renewing my faith in Star Wars. I started to have a little bit of doubts. I didn't care for the sequels a bunch. They were okay. I'm not one of these people that's going to shit all over them. I think they were all right. Kylo Ren was really cool. It was a cool character, but overall, it was directed by different people, and you could tell there wasn't a congruent theme through the movies because different people directed, and the corporate people got in the way and kind of fucked things up a little bit, I think. But Mandalorian is renewing my faith because Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are at the helm, and I think they're crushing it, bro. Crushing it.
It's okay.
I'm with you at Taylor. Who is? You're with him on what? The not liking the Mandalorian? Get the fuck out of here, man. How can you not like that?
Just okay. I'm saying my whole point with the Mandalorian is saying that Star Wars fans are a little easier to please with it, and they're like, it's great, but really, in reality, it's just fine. Like it's not special. It's just okay.
And there is a little fan service, like for people that are Star Wars fans, seeing like Boba Fett come back and kick ass definitely had more of a emotional like for me than it did for somebody who doesn't give a fuck about Star Wars for sure. So I can see your point there. I can
Justified is objectively a better show.
Okay.
Objectively.
I'm going to need you to relax because that's opinion. I will say Justified is one of my favorite shows of all time. So I'm not disputing that Justified was an awesome, fucking great show. But I think saying it's better and objectively a better show.
Objectively, it's better. Objectively, it's better.
I would say subjectively.
Smiling Beard says, Taylor, do you like the Star Wars movies? They're okay. Star Trek is better.
Get that. Now you're about to piss me off. Get the fuck out of here. Like I'll put up with a lot. I'll put up with a lot of shit from you, Taylor, but you start saying that shit, me and you will fight.
No, I've never been like hugely into futuristic space shit. I've always been more into Westerns and more realistic stuff like Sons of Anarchy, Peaky Blinders, like stuff like that. Just I appreciate and enjoy that so much more.
Well, here's the thing. I love all that stuff. I truly do. Peaky Blinders, fantastic. Sons of Anarchy, one of my favorites of all time. Like, great. Also, one that, by the way, my wife really enjoyed. So it's one of the few series that me and my wife can watch together because we both like it. Because normally me and her taste vary greatly on shows. So, I mean, I totally agree. Those are fantastic shows, but it's just different, right? Like Star Wars, I don't look at it as better or worse. I look at it as equal but different. Like to me,
but for me, Star Wars is just okay. Like I'm not.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, it's just fine. Like I can take it or leave it. The Star Trek thing was a joke.
I know you said that.
Anybody who's followed me for a long time knows that I used to give Michael Fisher just absolute shit over Star Trek because he is a hardcore Trekkie. Like,
is he?
He has an everyday hoodie that I don't know if he still wears it. He used to, or it was a vest or hoodie or something, and it was a Star Trek like themed vest or hoodie or something he wore unironically all the time. And I used to give him so much shit. He had so much Star Trek memorabilia, everything, all the time. And I used to give him shit, and now I'm just giving you shit because it's one of those things where I have to be the contrarian because it doesn't do anything for me.
I know. I get it. Dude, go ahead and click on Loomshot's comment, everybody. Go ahead.
Fuck you, Loomshot.
Loomshot, just for the people on the podcast, because Taylor yells at me when we don't do this. Loomshot commented, "Are you the Notebook type of guy, Taylor?" You know, I can proudly say I've never seen that movie.
What do you want? What do you want?
That is a pride point in my life that I can say I have never seen The Notebook.
Jonathan Morrison says, Taylor, play any Red Dead 2. And I'm imagining that this Jonathan Morrison is not the TLD today, Jonathan Morrison, but Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2, I installed it on my computer and I got about halfway through the intro sequence and stopped. I really want to finish it, but the intro to Red Dead 2 is so goddamn long. And I get that it's like a cinematic game, but Jesus Christ, the intro is like 2 hours long or 3 hours long. Like an intro. Yeah. Just let me play the goddamn game. I got so frustrated.
There are for sure some games that get a little crazy with the cutscenes.
Dude, I paid $60 for Red Dead 2 and didn't even get through the intro because it was so long. Like, let me skip
hour and a half intro. You're like, come on.
Yeah. At the time, my gaming rig was only at the office. It was like 2 a.m. and I'm just like, I can't. Okay. And Joe Combs says, what about the show The Witcher?
I was just about to say, I'm curious to hear what your opinions of shows like that are.
I have not watched The Witcher, but the game specifically, since I was just talking about a game, Alex bought me The Witcher for my birthday one time, and I played, and I did the game kind of out of order because it's one of those open world games where you can start a mission too early. And my save, my first and only save for the game, I died, right? So there was some early boss that I had. It was like a minotaur or something that I had to fight. And I died, and it saved. And every single time the game would load, the only save I had for the game, it would load, and I'd die instantly. Like I couldn't even move before I die. And like, I got so frustrated. I was like, I put like an hour into this game. I'm out. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. So the game really fun. The game seemed really fun. The show I haven't started, but I want to because it's more of like the Game of Thrones sort of vibe. So yeah, I definitely need to.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. And
I need to play. I need to watch it.
The chick in there is hot too. She's real gnarly in the beginning because she's kind of all deformed and weird, and then she does some magic to make herself beautiful and normal. And I shouldn't say normal, that's a rude thing to say, but she fixed all her problems, and she was hot. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought what's the feller's name that Superman? Henry Cavill. I thought he did a good job.
Taylor, just go play Rocket League again. True.
Fucking Rocket
True.
League.
It's been like 2 weeks since I played Rocket League, and I really.
How the guy that plays soccer with fucking remote control cars not like Star Wars? That's all I'm saying.
They're not remote control cars. You are the
even
car.
Worse. They're virtual remote control cars.
You are the car. It's not a remote control car. You are the car.
Well, but you're controlling.
And you're playing soccer.
You get the fuck what I'm saying. It's my
you're
point.
Such a goddamn boomer.
I was talking to Pete earlier, and I was trying to call him, and the fucking Bluetooth picked up on the podcaster, and then so I couldn't hear the phone ringing. I got all confused, and I'm like, Pete, I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck's going on. This damn Bluetooth's picking up. I'm like, this is exactly why Taylor calls me a boomer, because this shit's got me all fucked up. And he just laughed. He's like, yeah, you're an idiot.
True.
I struggle sometimes. I do. What's funny is I started on YouTube doing quite a few tech reviews. So
and then Jeremy's like, Taylor, I hate to bother you again, but how do I turn on my MacBook?
I do not say that. I've been using Mac forever. And you know what else is funny? When I worked at the railroad, the last job I had was tech related. I was in a technology field at CSX, which is funny that's where I ended up on the railroad. And I also did a lot of tech reviews on my channel. I still love tech, but some of it, I'm a little slow on the uptake on some of it right off the rip. It takes me a minute. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this thing? It is what it is.
You're a boomer. Boomer alert.
I'm definitely not a boomer. Can we just clarify that boomers are people, my parents are boomers.
You're a boomer. Can I just hit a button here, because it's been so long that I think people have forgotten.
Go ahead.
They've forgotten the roots of the podcast.
Go ahead.
Patina.
Oh shit! I thought you were going to put something horrible that I hated. You actually put a good one in there. Patina. I enjoy a good Truly. I knew that's where you were going after that, you motherfucker. Did you? Is that the one where it's like gobblecock? Or that one? Is that the one where we go patina, and then you're at the end going patina?
Yeah. Patina.
Yeah, you put a hard patina on the end there. Patina. Patina.
What's this one? This one is something. I don't.
Wow, dude.
Wow. Yeah, for you drinking along, doing the drinking game, you've not really had to do a whole lot of drinking for the last like 2 or 3 episodes. But when I do this one soundbite and you're doing a shot per patina. That's like 12 shots. Just boom.
You hit that twice. Everybody's got alcohol poisoning. Like,
yeah. Just turn the bottle up, chug it.
Dangerous.
Did you ever see the video of that? I think he's Dutch. Did you ever see the video of that Dutch dude chugging a 5th of whiskey?
Dude, that's so dangerous, bro. Like, I'm all about whiskey. I love it, but in moderation, man. That shit's dangerous, man. It can fuck you up. Like, you definitely don't want to get carried away with it like that. That's just not good. Did he get sick as fuck or die?
No, he's fucking champ. See if I can pull it up real quick without borking my internet.
Jeremy over there wishing he could make snippets. I could absolutely make snippets of Taylor. I've got the exact same soundboard right here that he does. And
but he doesn't know how because he's a boomer.
I know how. All he does is hit the flag to mark the file. Here's the thing. I'm too lazy to go back through all that audio and pull shit out. Like, I don't want to go through the audio, look for the flag, get in Adobe Audition, edit it out. Like, I'm just, it's not lack of knowing how, it's laziness is what it is.
All right, so here it is. Share my screen real quick and share my audio. Have you ever seen this video?
No. He chugs that whole bottle?
Yeah, I'll fast forward.
He probably dies. He's got to either throw up after or die, because you can't drink a whole bottle of whiskey like that.
This dude is a champ. Look at that.
Dude, I don't even want
to. This is not his first time. He put a straw in the bottle so it doesn't bubble up.
Oh my God, dude. Dude, I don't even want to condone that. That's so dangerous. I mean, I don't mean to sound like the asshole here, but that's
never seen that video?
No, dude. I mean, you could die from that. Like, legit, you could die.
That's a shit ton of liquor, just like boom, right away.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could straight die from that. Like, that's wow. He said it's probably Coke in it, but it looked like he unsealed it.
He did. He sealed it. He broke the seal on camera.
Yeah, he broke the seal on camera just to show that it really was whiskey. Wow.
And I'm like,
wow, dude. Yeah, dude, I just said it too. I went, wow, dude. Then you clicked. I'm like, fuck, I just said the soundbite again. And then you doubled it.
That's why I made that soundbite, because you say it so much.
Wow, dude.
Wow, dude. No, I saw that video a long time ago. It's got
people are saying that dude has to be dead. Like, yeah. I literally don't think you can do that. Like, I think that amount of alcohol he must have like made himself throw up like off camera right after they turned the camera off. Cause I think you would probably end up in the hospital if you did that, regardless how good your tolerance is. I don't think you can put that amount of alcohol down. Like, I could be wrong, but that doesn't seem safe.
No idea. It's not something I wouldn't do.
I mean, that's a 750. That's a 750, and Jack Daniels is what, around 80 proof, 80-ish, 80 something.
I'm not sure.
It's not terribly high proof, but I mean, it's strong enough that drinking a 750 of it would definitely make you sick as fuck. I can't believe he was even able to get that much down without gagging and puking. Like, it just seems like that would like.
Yeah. Have you ever seen, somebody just mentioned Shoe Nice. Have you ever seen Shoe Nice? Oh my, how do you not know who Shoe Nice is?
Because I have a life.
How do you not know who Shoe Nice is?
What
Shoe Nice was like?
I mean, is he a YouTube guy, a rapper, a fucking actor? I mean, what are we talking here?
Oh,
Shoe Nice. Is he a shoe collector? I mean, his fucking name's Shoe Nice. Does he collect shoes?
Dude, how have you not heard of Shoe Nice? You are truly a boomer.
You have just because I haven't heard of some fucking random dude, that makes me a boomer.
Yeah. Shoe Nice was a legend.
With who?
Legend. Just YouTube in general.
How is that dude a legend?
Let's search Shoe Nice.
This guy doesn't look like
a legend. How have you not heard Shoe Nice? Oh, he is.
Hey, everyone. Time to eat a stick of deodorant for everybody. Okay? Let's do this.
How have you not heard of Shoe Nice?
Old Spice.
How many views does this video have?
This isn't the original upload. He got banned from YouTube, I think. Dude, he ate tampons, chugged whiskey. Dude, he ate anything people told him to eat.
Yeah, look at the comments. I haven't either. Shoot, what? Like, nobody knows who the fuck this guy is. What are you talking about?
Joe is also a boomer.
She's getting all funky and she accidentally sticks her armpit in your mouth. That's what I'm going to eat. But anyways,
this dude had to have been strung out all the time.
This is an Old Spice commercial. Everybody a guy riding on a horse backwards? Am I an alien? Am I tripping off a nutmeg? Or am I just the luckiest guy to land the best advertisement gig in years?
This is the dumbest shit I've ever watched in my life, and I'm losing brain cells right now.
You've never heard of Shoe Nice?
Dude, why would I want to watch this guy eat deodorant?
People must think I'm nuts.
Yeah,
look at Xander over there.
That's actually exactly what I was thinking.
There was another guy who tried
there's a
to
reason.
be
There's a reason I've never heard of him, because that's the dumbest shit I've ever seen. I mean,
no. Tequila Suicide. That's what it was. So there was a guy who tried to be the second coming of Shoe Nice.
Here's the thing. There shouldn't have been a first coming of Shoe Nice. So there's no reason for there to be a second coming. The first coming shouldn't have happened, because that's just dumb. Like,
well, this isn't the original video, but this is a dude who used to be on YouTube.
We film videos with a potato of me eating stupid shit. Like, I don't get it.
Let's see if we can get this started. My internet's
What?
borked.
Yeah, I feel my IQ dropping.
Have you ever heard of Tequila Suicide?
Nope. Does it have something to do with drinking tequila?
Yes. I think
yeah, exactly. Loomshot said that's why we have idiots eating Tide Pods. Exactly, because there's fucking dipshits out there doing stuff like that. What in the hell? This guy was actually on like a show, America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
What did he do?
Salt in his. No, I'm gonna do the play-by-play, Howie. We're here at the big event at America's Got Talent. He's choking on the shells. Go ahead. Salt on his hand.
I'm really glad.
Snorts the salt.
I'm glad we don't monetize this, because this will definitely get taken down.
Juice. And the champ has taken my juice to the eye.
Oh wait, you know who did that? That actually has a video or a channel that's actually worth watching is Chris Ramsey.
Yeah, Chris Ramsey is awesome.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's awesome. And he did that. I think it was on his channel, it was on Pete's channel. It might have been on Pete's channel back in the early days of Pete. Chris Ramsey like did some crazy shit, like he snorted some salt and put some lemon in his eye or something. I think he did that exact same thing on Pete's channel back in the day.
Yeah, this guy was the original. Chuck from the Bronx. He did that back in like 2008.
I don't get it, man.
That was another time of YouTube. Anyway, all of this is just to prove that you're a boomer. Well,
I mean, just because I don't know of some useless fucking guys that ate deodorant on the internet doesn't mean I'm a boomer. I mean, there are lots of valid points you have to point out the boomerish nature of some of my personality traits, but not knowing who the fuck that guy was, I don't feel like is
you're a boomer. All right, that's probably where we should wrap it up. It's been almost 3 hours.
So what's tonight's topic?
Jeremy's a boomer. That's the topic. That's always the topic. It doesn't matter what we title it. That's always the topic.
It's always the underlying topic is how my hair is fucking out of control tonight. And dude, my contacts are absolutely wrecking my life right now. I don't understand why they're being so difficult tonight.
A lot of people saying Steve-O did it first. He probably did. I mean, Steve-O's a hardcore dude.
Yeah, dude. Like,
can we get Steve-O on?
I kind of respected Jackass because they were like the first guys to do all that just crazy dumb shit. But it's like, I don't know, man. How much of that stuff can you see before it's like, okay, yeah, guys doing just, painful or dumb shit over and over. Like, I don't know.
They're doing another Jackass.
I mean, that's what I said. I kind of respect those guys because they were kind of the first ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, if you were born after 1965, you are not a boomer.
Jeremy, you can try to fight it all you want.
I was born in 1978. So over a decade.
You can try to fight it all you want.
Over a decade past Boomerville, son. Over a decade. 78. When were you born? Like 97, 98?
2000.
are you serious? No, that can't be right. Yeah,
I'm like, wait.
Yeah, I was like, wait,
1990.
you'd only be. I was like, you'd only be 20. What the fuck? You're not.
I felt the cogs in your brain grinding to a halt for a second.
Well, I was like, what? Like, is it? I was like, holy shit, was he really born after 2000? I'm like, oh no, he was. You were born in. When were you born? What year were you born?
1990.
1990.
Yeah.
So see, I was only in high school.
Old as fuck. All right. Anyway, what do you got going on this week? I know you just did your gift guide. Anything else? Probably some smoke break.
I just did the gift guide. That's out there. Go check that out for sure. Like I said earlier, when you were taking your baby bladder break, we're probably dropping the man cards, the copper version of the man cards Friday. And I think if I'm remembering what Chad said correctly, we got some more of the ashtrays in. So we might do like a little double drop of another little batch. We're dropping the ashtrays in batches as we get them because we're only getting little amounts at a time. So we're going to drop some more of the ashtrays and some of the copper man cards probably Friday. And I did want to show you guys this because I actually, before we go, question. I want to show you two things. Sorry, real quick. Dude, first off, I forgot. It was one of the guys in here.
Jeremy, real quick size, everybody.
No, this
Jeremy,
is worth
real
it.
quick size.
This is worth it. One of the guys, I think it was one of the guys in here recommended it. Have you seen these? The beard tarps. Best fucking mask. Dude, best mask ever.
The mask I got was from Sandpack, and it goes over your ears. It's got a drawstring in the back.
Right,
and
that's how this
it goes under my beard. It's like it cups over my nose and goes under my beard.
It goes like this. It's got the little thing here, so it pinches your nose, and it drapes in front of your beard. Because the problem with having a beard and wearing a mask is it squishes it, right? And then it pushes my mustache in my mouth. This just hangs straight. So it does not bother your beard at all. It's the most comfortable mask I've ever gotten. Somebody recommended it to me. And it is the best mask for guys with beards. Now, if you don't have a beard, something like that's not necessary, but they make it in different lengths depending on how long your beard is. It is the best mask I've ever used. It's the only mask that doesn't fuck my beard up, and it's fucking comfortable and it's fantastic. Yes, it is like an apron for your face. And if you've got a beard, especially a big one, you'll completely appreciate how hard wearing a normal mask is. The other thing I had real quick, because I wanted to do a little bit of a question, is
well, this is the mask that I got because I have a beard. It's the Sandpack mask, and it just goes around my beard and comes up underneath.
Very nice. Somebody was asking, hell yes, where can you get this? It's called the Beard Tarp. So just go to search the Beard Tarp. It's beardtarp.com. It's a company out of Canada. It does have like a 2-week lead time because I think they're super popular right now because guys with beards fucking hate life with masks. And that really fixes the problem, especially if you got a big, long beard like I do. Because like, even with that thing you got, Taylor, when you got a beard this long, that's not going to work because it's going to scoop all this shit up and fuck it up. That thing just, it's great. The quick question I had for you guys. The point number 2 is quick question. So, you guys know I've been working on a flask, right? So I got this glass flask that I've been working on. See if I can get it out of here without spilling shit everywhere, right? So it's a glass flask because it doesn't fuck with the whiskey like the metal ones. It's got a little copper or a brass cap on it, right? And I like the all glass. I think it looks good, does what it's supposed to, but we wanted to offer some kind of leather something. So if somebody wanted a little more protection, they could. So this is like a prototype of the leather sleeve that is optional, and you don't have to keep it in that, but you can, and it just goes on there. It's got a little button. And anyway, so curious as to if you guys like the little sleeve or if you think it would be better just raw glass. I mean, look, you can obviously.
Can I give you my feedback?
Yeah. Shoot. That's what I'm asking for.
Yes, on a leather sleeve. No, with that sleeve.
What's wrong with this sleeve?
The seam goes across the bottom and you can't sit it down.
Well, and that's purposeful because putting it on the bottom it makes it weird, right? We tried several different versions of different with it not on the bottom like that, and it makes it real hard. It's very hard to manufacture. It doesn't fit well. It gets weird. We tried. This, because of the curve in the back, because this flask has got a curve in the back. My question mainly was, do you like the general design? I know you can't sit it down. You have to lay it down, but I mean, whatever.
I mean, that's okay with the flask because it's got a lid, but still.
Right. But
it
the question
me
is,
with that seam across the bottom though.
Yeah. I mean, I feel it actually kind of like works for like pocket because it kind of like tapers it down a little bit. So you kind of got, but my main question was, would you rather have like the signature logo on here, a leaf and barrel logo, or the skull logo?
Best MEDC logo.
I mean, I feel like that's not going to work.
No.
It's my flask, not yours. So the best damn EDC wouldn't.
It's okay. I'll just make another flask and it'll be better.
But yeah, I'm just curious, and maybe I'll do like a little poll on my Instagram also. A lot of skulls. Yeah, I was kind of thinking skull too, just because the flask itself has the signature logo. So if you wanted to go with kind of a more simplistic, like, cleaner look, you could just not use the leather. We're also thinking about selling it two ways and selling the leather separate, like as an add-on. So that if you didn't want the leather, you didn't have to purchase the leather. You could get it cheaper. You could get it a little less expensive without the flask, and then it'd be a little bit of an add-on if you wanted the leather. That way you could do both.
So somebody else agrees with me. Just saying.
Yeah, it was like one dude, and you probably paid him.
Somebody said whiskey knife fight.
Just
saying.
Hey, it is a whiskey flask, So a lot of people are saying skull. Awesome. So that's good information. I'll still probably put an Instagram poll up just to see. I knew there had to be a joy. I knew there had to be a couple smart asses in the group. There always is.
I love you guys. Jeremy doesn't, but I do.
I love all of you, even if you are assholes sometimes. I still love you. But yeah, so a lot of people are saying skull, so that's good to know. That's cool. And so you guys are cool. You like the leather.
Can I request something?
What's that?
Can I request something for the flask shell, like the cover, the leather pouch? Can we make it out of shell driven?
I mean, here's the thing.
Can we make it out of shell, please?
We make it out of shell cordovan, and it jacks the price up way more to where people would probably be pissed at me because shell cordovan's not.
Just make it out of shell. Just do shell.
But so it seems like people are pretty down with the flask. They like it.
What anybody who doesn't know about shell, if you made that out of shell, it'd be like a $200 sleeve.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It would be crazy expensive, and it would take the price.
It would look amazing.
Oh, it would look amazing, and it would age amazing. Yeah. It would be great, but it would change.
Do the cap out of Zerk. Do the cap out of Zerk, dude. You could sell that flask for like $800 and make like 12.
Can you even drink out of Zerk? Would that be safe? I mean, the main reason I made that flask out of glass is because it imparts zero flavor on the whiskey, and you could leave it in there indefinitely without ever having to worry about any whiskey taint. See what I did there? Taint. But yeah, that's the main reason. Because I mean, obviously, whiskey comes in glass bottles for a reason.
All I'm saying is I want one maybe with a little more I don't know where I'm going with that. I want a little faster than maybe the last package you sent me or the other stuff, that you sent me.
I just talked to Chad today and told him I was going to get a list of him for some people that I owe products to for like little Christmas present type things and stuff. And you're going to get a package. We're going to get you a lighter. We're going to get you a whiskey glass because you don't have one of these. And when we're on the fucking whiskey knife fight, you should be drinking out of a proper good glass. So
I got one.
I mean, you do drink out of the Pete's Pirate Life glass pretty often, which the Pete's Pirate Life glass is awesome. So I'm not going to fade the Pete's Pirate Life glass, but you should definitely be either drinking out of the Pete's Pirate Life glass, this glass, or possibly again Glencairn. You need to get that Bunsen burner fucking meth cooking shit out of here. Did you get that from breakingbad.com? What the fuck is that thing, dude? Get the hell out of here with that shit.
I got this from, I think this came from Bespoke Post. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
There are some pretty goofy fucking whiskey glasses out there. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't know where this came from. The
goofiest whiskey glass ever is the one that like a lot of people tout is like the best one for tasting whiskey. It looks like a little fucking, the Bourbon Junkies even made fun of it because it's got like, I forgot what it's called, but it looks like a vase. It's got like a bulb and then it cuts in and then it's got like a flange that kind of comes out. Yeah. But then imagine if the top of that then flanged out real far. So there's like no good way to hold it. And they were like joking around. They're like, how are you supposed to hold this thing? And they're like holding it like this because there's like no good way to hold it. It's like, it's the goofiest.
I mean, that's how this is. Like the only thing you can really do with this is like swish or like swirl. There's no like good.
Yeah. I don't
like this. What do you do?
I don't, that seems strangely phallic when you're gripping it super round like that.
Yeah.
Do. I mean,
you pinch grip.
Undercup it. Yeah, you pinch grip it. Maybe. I don't. Yeah.
Tuzu called it a butt plug glass.
I mean that you got a big old butthole if you're putting that big old thing in there. But hey, I'm just saying that thing's got some girth on it, son. Oh, I fucking. Hey, all I said was you got a big old butthole if you put that on. I didn't say. I'm just saying.
Oh. All right. Well, you told us what you've got going on. I haven't done anything in like 2 weeks. I did a gift guide and best knives under $100. I took a week off to recoup after that crazy week. And this week I've got a knife or a video on fixed blade knives for like EDC. Reasons you should not EDC a fixed blade. And this is the one I've been carrying for off and on for a little while. This is the Bradford Guardian 3 in the Roke custom sheath with a little, it's like a little pocket clip sheath, which makes fixed blades legal. I normally can't because they're belt sheaths and I hate belt sheaths, but if I can put it in my pocket, I'll carry it. And this has been great. But that's really all I got going on for now because I've been spending a lot of my time working on trying to get a new office. So lots of behind the scenes stuff, but that's that for me.
This time of year gets crazy. And I've seen several people, it looks like, if I can read correctly, say I need to come out with a cigar cutter. It's in the works, man. I'm trying to work that out. A lot of merch flying around. So I do have cigar cutter on the menu. Yeah, I mean, this time of year is crazy, man. Dude, you got some stuff coming. The one I'm super excited about, but we won't, I don't know. Oh, you've already talked about it. I didn't want to like drop it, but you've already talked about the maybe you haven't. I won't say in case you haven't. You don't want to.
If it's not the flashlight, I haven't talked about it.
Okay, no. It's that one. Okay, I thought we had talked about that on the podcast publicly.
Yeah. Flashlight. Yeah, flashlight is back or not back, but in production now, which is very exciting.
Oh man, that means so you guys are done all the testing and you actually got it in production finally.
Well, they're producing parts. The parts that they know are going to work. We haven't gotten like a prototype in hand yet.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, because if you're at the production phase, you're not too far off. So
no, they're just manufacturing some parts that are machining some parts that they know are going to work. So beyond that, that's all I really know. So we're not in like production yet. Yeah, me too.
Oh, that reminds me. Somebody just said, I do actually have one of those. We'll give it away on maybe a future podcast.
What?
Somebody has, I don't think they were talking to me. They said, what I would give for a Benchmade cutter, about $300. I actually have one of those that Benchmade gave me to give away.
Oh,
so
that'd be good.
We'll give that away on a future podcast. It's one of the, it's actually on, it's the Benchmade cutter, but it's the newer version of it. The blue class version of it. It's nice. We'll give one. I've got one. So we'll do that on a future episode.
I see several people asking TI. I imagine they're asking about the flashlight. Yes. The initial version of the flashlight will only be in titanium.
I was about to say, of course it's going to be in TI. Come on, dude. Come on.
Chad says, talk to Joe Taylor. Things are moving. Cough, cough. Yeah, so I got word that parts are being made. That's all I really know.
Hey man,
so,
I'm excited about the flashlight for you because that's it's actually an impressive undertaking, right? Because me and Chad were talking about that earlier in the fact that I've loved everything I've come out with, and there's been a lot of work involved in revisions and design and all that. But I don't know if any of it can eclipse the technical difficulty of putting together something like a flashlight. There is a lot of fucking moving parts.
I also was like, yeah, and I was also like, I want this and this and this and this and this, and I'm not budging.
right. Like,
and they're like, well, okay.
and the thing is, I know the amount of work that Chad and all the guys and me put into the stuff that I made. And like I said, none of this is technical stuff. This is all like hard products that don't have a lot of moving, intricate pieces. Right. So, and I know how much work this shit took. So I can only imagine something like a fucking flashlight. Like, man, that's a lot. It's an impressive.
Talking about it for a while. Yeah. I'm just ready to get a prototype in hand so I can be like,
boop, boop, boop. Dude, the prototypes are super
feel
exciting.
that it's a real thing and not just like something that we've talked about,
Yep. Every time he sends me a prototype, I'm fucking pumped about it. I'm like, oh, I have immediately take pictures of it within the background to tease it.
You have to think the only thing I've got of mine so far is the old TPT slide.
Yep.
That's it, which was an existing product. So it doesn't feel quite as special. Like I'm super pumped to have these. Oh, the magnet fell out earlier today. I'm super pumped to have these, but it's not like a unique product. So I'm ready to have a truly, truly unique product, and I'm super pumped for that because this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Like when they were like, "What do you want to do?" I was like, "Flashlight." Like, didn't even hesitate. That's what I'm doing.
I'm sorry. You got to love the people that watch our podcast. Taylor 3D print a Jeremy Cyrus limited truly can.
No,
we have so many
Jeremy a dick whistle.
Here, dude. You got to love them.
I love it because I'm glad that there's some people in the Taylor camp,
Yeah, dude,
Jeremy
there's always
love because he likes all the things that everybody loves, like a Mandalorian for whatever reason. And I'm over here with actual taste, and people are like, Taylor needs to upgrade his taste. No, I have, and that's why I don't like Mandalorian.
There's always going to be, just like the Bourbon Junkies, there have people that always list hashtag Team Dan, hashtag Team Taylor, or Sean. I'm sure there are people that are Team Taylor and people that are Team Jeremy. I mean, there's going to be a natural split in the population. I mean, the people that are Team Taylor are wrong, but I mean, it's okay.
Who are Team Jeremy are the ones that need to buy a card to remind themselves that they're a man.
I mean, it's not as much as a reminder as it is like a trophy.
I think it's a reminder. It's like,
you definitely do not need a card. You definitely do not need a card to be reminded, for sure. That is not what it's about at all. It's more like
wait a minute. Am I? Hold on. And you pull out your wallet and you're like, yeah, well, I am.
That's why I sent it to you, because I know when you're sipping your Truly, sometimes you forget and then you go, oh, that's right. I shouldn't be drinking.
No. I use it to open my Trulies because I'm like, I don't need a reminder. I drink Truly. All right, we should really go because my bladder is knocking again.
Speaking of man, Jesus Christ, baby bladder.
Tiny tank is what I prefer.
I do think you had a good idea with the man card of Liberty, though. I might do that.
I agree. I think you should.
Or I'll make a couple and we'll do another giveaway on the podcast with it, kind of thing.
All right. Well, I think that's it for this time. Thank you guys for hanging out for so long and dealing with me. Oh, yeah. Chad, real quick. Taylor, we also have your best damn man card moving forward. That's also true. I have.
That's so funny. When you told me that, I was like, that's hilarious.
I have the best damn man card and the best damn flask coming out as product.
The best damn whiskey glass. And you said you were going to use this exact same glass and then just put your logo on the side of it.
Yeah. Same, even with the leaf and barrel stamp, but it says best damn. That's
hilarious.
I love you, Chad. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out. All the links for everything is down below in the show notes. And we'll see you the same time next week, right? Not with the Bourbon Junkies, unfortunately. That'll be
the following week.
But we will be back next Wednesday shooting the shit with some other topic, which is basically me just trying to keep Jeremy on task because he's so old and senile that he doesn't know what we're here for.
Hour and a half. I even, because of my buddy AB, we even had like a special guest on pertaining to the topic.
That's true. Impromptu guest, which was really nice.
Yeah,
really
I think we did good. We went off the rails after about an hour and a half deep, but that's
to be expected.
Exactly.
Unless Jeremy's, gone dry for a week.
I stay on topic when I'm dry.
That's true. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
All right, fellas. Love all you bitches.
Bye. Where is it? Hang on. Is it this one?
I love to gobble cock.
There it is.